I decide when to restrain and when to kill. Only the best call the shots.
We are here with WhiteTigerZ versus BEE on a very hot play day here at the start of the playoffs. Of course, depending on where in the world you are, it's probably very hot in your country. So remember to keep yourself hydrated, keep that water flowing, and yeah, of course we're a little behind schedule, so we're gonna go straight to casters. Chuck.
Titan series, WhiteTigerZ versus BEE, and it's going to be an interesting one considering both of these two teams' track record coming into today's matchup.
Yeah, most definitely do. I do apologize. I was muted by accident, but nonetheless, I think we should just get this match started. We're already behind schedule pretty heavily, but just for yeah, let's actually start the match. I mean, the players are ready, and on this hot day, let's actually have a very intense match. We're gonna be having Oregon as the first one, Villa, and then for the last one, if we get to the decider, it will be Chalet.
It's going to be an interesting match between both of these teams. Of course, for Oregon, it is WhiteTigerZ map pick. It's a map that they know pretty well so far in 2023, having a pretty successful win rate on this map, pretty overwhelming, pretty dominant results on this map. And of course, in the very first play day, they played this map against TT9, and they impressed a lot of people in their first play day against TT9. I remember this because I know in particular Just Goat casted this game, and she was really impressed by how structured WhiteTigerZ were. For BEE, when I watched their last game, I remember I was amazed by how patient they were, especially on their defenses, but their attacks were a little bit different. So hopefully we can see, you know, especially with them having played so many matches throughout the Titan series, seeing how they have improved on their attacks just a little bit. But we get right into the ban phase here of Oregon. We already see two, you know, pretty big operators, Dokkaebi and Nook, already banned, Puff.
Oh yeah, most definitely. It's not much of a surprise. I mean, with Dokkaebi's gadgets and overall just being an intimidating character, it's not really something you can go wrong with banning. Same with Nook. I mean, it's not like she has the best gun in the world. No, it's decent enough, but it's the gadget, you know, allowing you to kind of flow and throw yourself into the defensive unit along with some nades. So that's gonna be perfect. Solus again. You can't really go wrong with these picks. I mean, Solus, it's a small squished map, but that's not the problem. Problem is Solus has a wide range of detecting thing, not only pre-placed drones, but all types of gadgets and the diffuser along, as the last one is going to be Fenrir, the newest operator introduced to Rainbow Six Siege, as we're not going to be seeing much potential brought out from him. But hopefully these players can show what they can do even without the help of these very strong operators. The first site we're going to be going to is downstairs into laundry and supply. Now, what do you think the main base of, like, the main line you want to defend here would be first, Chaka?
What do you mean?
What would be the most important, let's say, line of sight, line position? As an example,
Right.
let's say bunker.
I mean, for base, there's a lot of positions. Pretty efficient. It's a site that relies on a lot of power positions. Especially you have to be very good at holding your angles and holding your discipline. Of course, that can be quite difficult, especially if the other team brings somebody like a Ying or a bunch of flashes and stuff like that. I mean, because with basement, the main thing about basement, especially for defense, is that it depends on like a lot of crossfires or on a lot of power positions being played properly. It's not a site in which you have to sit here and you have to like roam around the map and defend the top floor with your life, just because there is no soft destruction to be worried about on the top floor whatsoever here on Oregon. And so that's why you see Ying being brought out, but an early run out from a tease results in the very first pick for WhiteTigerZ.
Oh, getting a bit cocky. It's going to be the Warden coming out. A very good attempt getting level, very low on his HP, but not enough to finish him off, as he's going to be getting swept off the team quite quickly, as the first early frag is going to be brought on not even 30 seconds into the match. And yeah, now it seems like this push is going to be very, I guess you could say multi-dimensional, but mostly on one side. It's going to be this bunker tower type push. We have the Ying, we have the Monty, kind of applying pressure on the side of bunker. Mostly people are going into the side of tower just to push downstairs and also get some hatches, and the kill gets dropped, and is going to be level finally getting taken out, as they're not going to be letting that small amount of HP slide by.
Yeah, but I mean, a tease being the first pick, you
Yeah.
do go down with the pick going in your favor, especially with Levo not really getting the opportunity to place down any of the air jabs. It's the fact that you lose the Warden pick so early, and then on top of that, you have to worry about a Ying. So that means that with the Warden gone, Ying being on the board here for WhiteTigerZ means they can take control of areas like Pillar, like Tarps really, really easily. E-Box is going to be a big option for them because they really have nobody countering them on this defense. If you see the lineup from Esports, the only thing they brought to counter a Ying or any of these throwables is only the Warden. They don't have a Jaeger, they don't have a Wombai, it's about to get to that time for the execute where you see WhiteTigerZ start to drop.
Yeah, there's going to be Garen getting taken out along with a kill onto Criticals, as the Ying will be taken out, so that Warden is now out of play, along with a bit of a combination to take out one. Monty seeming very low, Tachanka letting out those Shamikas, and it seems like defense is kind of stacked up, just trying to waste as much time as possible, as canisters are pretty much out of, I guess, condition, you could say, at this position, as there comes the Shamikas, but it won't be that kills him. It's going to be Haribo with a double kill, taking out yet another. Is going to be Krugi, as now we're looking at a 2v3 situation. I mean, we still have the zombie barriers left, and the Chanka is still good at wasting time, but it's going to be the main region that's going to be coming out. And yeah, this is kind of the example of why you do want to ban a zombie. It's going to be very difficult, not only to get around it without wasting time, but also to, you know, kind of win this in a man disadvantage.
You're going to see the Azami use a few barriers in order to close the walls up, and that's an extra line of sight close, but then you swing it, lose your life, and then you can get one right back. These sports themselves up in that man advantage. It's now up to the Monty. It's no real position that a Monty wants to be in, forced to take one-on-one gunfights with a pistol and your shield, where your head is exposed, gets taken off by Doodoo at the end of the round, and BEE takes the very first round here on Oregon, a map that heavily favors WhiteTigerZ, but that first round goes handedly in favor of BEE.
Yeah, at the end it was down to the Monty in a 1v2, and let's say the least, it was not an easy situation. Not only looking low on HP, but kind of just a disadvantage at guns, you know? The problem with Monty is you can bring him along. He's a very useful, just big chunky shield that's very hard to, you know, get rid of. But the problem is, if it's a 1v1 situation or something like that, it's the frag potential that goes down with it. You do get an advantage, as of course, when it comes to protection, getting a better plant, getting a better sight, you know, getting a bit more intel without having to waste so much utility. But yet again, frag potential goes down, and you necessarily, it's kind of an equal trade-off. It really depends on how you play it and how it all goes down. But in the end, it was BEE taking the first round, and, you know, very well played. The kills did come out pretty good. Although they lost the Warden early, they still managed to get in a bit of a late trade for that Ying. So in the end, they couldn't really use their potential just too much. But yeah, of course, well played. We're going to be going upstairs now, as of course, on the side of the attack, we're going to be seeing some interesting switches. We're going to be going back to the Nomad with level, as a Maverick will be introduced, which I'm just going to say it off the top of my head. I'm going to be assuming some sort of attic push here.
Yeah, I mean, the signals are there for what type of push WhiteTigerZ want to pull off. You have the Ace plus the Maverick, so it indicates that they want to go for a more split push, maybe open up some slides of sight, with Ace using or onto the game as well, and then with the Maverick, obviously lines of sight to put pressure onto the attic hole or onto pits, and then also maybe open up a little crouch hole so that you can actually take some presence in there in the attic. But you already see some pressure being applied towards that balcony, or a lack thereof, as P13 stands outside of the balcony looking to try and clear some of these angles, or at least clear some of these positions. And I like how, because we see the bans here, Solus and Fenrir being banned, Azami isn't one of those, and she's going to be played immediately in our very first 2 rounds here from BE.
Oh, A very nice C4 coming out is going to be critical, taken off the board. The Twitch will be getting traded out for Dodo, as of course we're going to be back to kind of looking the same way it was earlier. Although these trades are not as equal as they were, though. I mean, last time it was a Warden, this time it was a Rooney. Not the same, you know, pick you want as when it comes to which one would be better. Same goes for the Twitch. I mean, this is way better of a pick than something like a Ying. As of course, right now we still have some frags. We still have utility on the side of attack. Not as much on defense, though. I mean, the zombie barriers are pretty much almost wasted if, of course, besides the ones that are standing. And I mean, you could consider the Google glasses from Warden, but that's about as far as it goes. As it's gonna be Kroge dropping one onto Hozar, and that's gonna be the Rourke's end of the match. A very strong gun you kind of took right there, and I mean, they don't have too little time. They most definitely have time to work around this, to draw things out, and with breaches out, I feel like this could be looking very good for WhiteTigerZ.
Yeah, time is certainly favoring them. They have a minute left. They have a few drones to work with. Only 4 in the back pocket, so not a lot, but maybe just enough to work with in order to get information on the last 3 players that exist inside of the site. No pressure being applied elsewhere here for the Esports. Flink's very hard to pull off from Oregon, and you don't see them trying to go for it. Instead, they're going to be forced into 50-50 gunfights, which they have to take. Atiz wins once, but immediately loses the second. Garen finds one inside of Pit, moves his way into Attic, taking complete control of that. And that does give BEE a chance in this round with 30 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, no, they're going to be pushing main breach. P13 getting one onto Haribo, as it's going to be Warden with a triple kill, getting the refrag, as now he's in a 1v1 with Kroge. 18 seconds on the clock. This is where it's going to have to go for the diffuser. And with no C4 in hand, it's going to be very hard to go off of against. But the information is there. He is an Attic, and the pings are starting to come out. He's slowly pushing the Maverick, as the plant will be getting stuck. Finally, now the Maverick is in a 1v1 situation, and a very nice shot from Garen, as with a quad kill, he will be there to finish the job. And the second round in a row, aka round number 2, is going to be going to BEE Esports. Now, a very good attempt from the side of, you know, a very good attempt from the side of WhiteTigerZ. Yeah, I do apologize. A very good attempt, but yet again, it was. At the end, they had it all. They had the time. They had a lot more utility, I would say. But it feels like they just didn't have the timing and the coordination to go through with it.
You know, they just took 50-50 gunfights, and you saw BEE able to win out their gunfights pretty handedly. And at the end of it, in that 1v1, it's very hard to kind of judge the Maverick in that 1v1 situation on the side of WhiteTigerZ. I believe that was Krugi in that situation, and he's in a situation where he's being pinged. There's a lot of information on him. Plus, he's in a corner. He's stuck. He has to swing. He has to take a fight. And unfortunately for him, he loses it. If he doesn't lose it, then obviously he wins the round, and that's a pretty good play from him. But even then, regardless of that, he was stuck between a rock and a hard spot. I had to make a decision, and he made a decision, and it unfortunately led to the round loss for his team. It's already BEE. 2 rounds up, and when you look at the match statistics or the map statistics for both of these teams, Oregon is a map that WhiteTigerZ knows how to play. They're really, really good at it. It's a map that favors them pretty well. And BE Sports, they have a pretty neutral win rate on this map. And so right now we're seeing, well, the defense side of Oregon kind of shine just a little bit, but also some individual players here from BE kind of shine as well.
Yeah, I feel like B right now is in a very good position, especially for the early game. I mean, they are on defense, but with this map, I can't really include which one would be a bit better. It can go anyways, really depends on the playstyle. With some maps, there is most definitely favor when it comes to if you want to be on attack or defense more. On this map, it's kind of equal, I would say, very much. It feels like a bit more of a clubhouse type situation. But right now, WhiteTigerZ is being very fast on this push. It seems like at least of the start. I mean, they've already taken dining, which yet again, or it isn't necessarily being controlled, no, but you know, you want to make progress fast. The drones are starting to come out, and this intel could be very useful. I mean, we're gonna have to go for some sort of verticality as an attacker, because especially with this side, which is very vertical open to idea, especially with sledges and fuses and all that type of stuff, it's going to be a control, or a fight for control upstairs, as Haribo is going to be taking some damage along with P13. Looking quite equal on it, but it will be Haribo getting the one taken out, and it's a trade onto P13. Fell down almost the same second. Is going to be Me taking one. He takes the second. The AK-12 in hand. He's not going to be going in for mercy. He will be there to finish off Garen and Atiz. Now, Wow, this has changed quickly as Level will be joining them 6 foot under very quickly as he seems to be just down but not fully out.
It's a 4v2 in favor of White Tigers, and they have this dining control, plus they have 2 players at least on the top floor, but they don't have full control of it. There's actually an extra player on the top floor, and one of them gets caught out. Dodo finds one, has a line scan on him, and Levo has to make a decision. Does he want to take the 50-50 gunfight? And I don't think he really has much of a decision to make. You have to win this gunfight, or else White Tigers, they are in danger of losing the round.
Yes, they are. 50 seconds on the clock, and we don't want this turning out like it did previously. Mini-Me is going to be getting out with one more, making himself a triple, and it seems like Dodo's going to be a bit more stuck. Although the HP isn't looking too good, and the time is especially favorable right now, as will be Krugi taking out, of course, Dodo, finishing the job in a very nice, well-played round from the side of White Tigers, managing to get themselves the first round. Now, you know, this is kind of a bit of a breaking spot. You don't want BEE to kind of just keep this flow of winning one round after another, and I feel like right now it most definitely could be going to the other side. We're going to be having a bit of a rehost, as it seemed like the players cannot switch sides even after the third round has passed, so I'm thinking this could, yeah, this is most definitely going to be going to a rehost.
See if we can get like word from our producer. I don't think our observer had enough time, or
yes, yeah, okay.
But okay, it looks like we are gonna go to a rehost, but we in the midst of doing so, while we do get our settings sorted and our players settled, we will be back with a short break for you guys. It'll be about a couple minutes. I can't promise how long it'll be, but we'll be back soon.
Where is it written that all our dreams must be small ones? Must be small.
to WhiteTigerZ versus Esports, and sorry for the long wait. I hope it wasn't too long for you guys, but if you just missed the action or if you're just now joining back with us and you need a refresher for your minds, it's going to be BE leading 2-1 on their defenses against WhiteTigerZ, who just won their last attacking round before we hit our rehost button. So now BE Sports, after wanting their rehost and after wanting to go to basement, they're going to go straight down to basement. And I already see some changes with their lineup. Now, instead of having a tease on the Warden, they have him on the Azami. But that's not really the only change that I also see. I also see a Kaid this time around. They're running with a lot more denial this time compared to the last basement round where they weren't really running any denial at all. However.
Yeah, we also do love to see the mirror as well, so that's going to be quite a deadly way to stop the bunker push. And on the attack, we haven't seen much adaptability when it comes to that, so mentioning a Flores, maybe mentioning a bit of a Twitch to counter that utility. Especially a Flores right now would be extremely useful against the Zami in particular, maybe the Goyo along with it. With the amount of drones you can, you know, spare for most of those gadgets, it would come in handy. But it's going to be the switch onto the IQ, as it seems like we're going to be going for a bit of a spawn peek right here. And yeah, it doesn't seem to work out. Tried it, but you know, can't always have it in your grasp. Now, with this, I mean, there's going to be no intentions on pushing bunker. We can clearly see that it's going to be small tower and top push. So just for a simple roam clear is never a bad option to go with.
I mean, there's not really much of a roam to clear here from BEE. The only player that they had roaming around the map, if you could even call it a roam, was Huzard. He's made his way back to site. He doesn't get that first kill with that 9mm SMG that you get, or the Russian SMG that also Capcan gets, but with Tachanka you have like the option between the 2.0 site and a 1.5, but we saw the 1.5 being used there from Huzar. The map is going to be clear. WhiteTigerZ are going to know that, and they're going to take full advantage of the map at their disposal. Now what's really important is the fact that, I mean, they don't have a Flores like you highlighted, and it's something that they could use against the Azami barriers, but they have 4 nades in pocket, plus they also have a Kaid to worry about, and that's why they brought the IQ. Not only do they want to spot out exactly where these Kai's are, but they want to be as accurate as possible with these EMP impacts that they have in the back pocket of Krugi.
Hatchplay is going to come definitely into, you know, into value in the later round, especially E-Box is going to be a very good rotation cutoff. And with that, I mean, Laundry could also be one of the main points, but I'm just going to go and stick with it. It's going to be Tower and Freezer. Maybe a bit of pressure on Laundry, since you can't just leave the, you know, you have to cut off as much freedom from these defenders as possible as the drones are starting to slowly come in. And yeah, the positions are completely seeming to change. The C4 comes out and a very nice kill onto criticals by Garen. No one expected it, but of course, you can never expect the unexpected, as of course it's going to be a very late kill, as Krugi will be securing himself a bit of a trade-off onto the side of Garen, a refrag you could call it, a bit of a late one, but it still happens, as we're going to be manned, pretty much not much man advantage we have here, but the split push is coming in as it's going to be forced down onto the side of Laundry, actually not Laundry, it's going to be focused a bit more on Tower and Bunker.
Still have Levo on the other side of the map, but we need to see a push coming in here at any second from WhiteTigerZ. You get Pillar, that space afforded to you by Pillars, plus you have a cutoff from Krugi, but you need to make all of that pressure count for something. There's a lot of delay utility on this side of BEE, using the Vulcans, the Tachanka fires, everything at your disposal, plus all of these crossfires that you have to worry about.
Yeah, the defenders are worrying a bit too much on Laundry as the nade kill comes out, taking out a tease, as of course another one from P13, getting one, getting the second on Levo, as Hazard will be left over, and a nice triple kill to finish it off as it all happens in the very end, and a very nice shot coming in. He gets the mirror, and there gets the Cade. A very quick and sudden, you know, push that happened right there. May I want to mention, these defenders, they seem to be kind of, you know, the attackers gave them a bit of a tease. They for a second put some pressure on Laundry, which gave them this sort of insecurity that they may come in late round for a bit of a flank. And in the end, it didn't seem to happen. Now, with that, you know, the defenders were so focused. We had a player fully focusing on the double door on Laundry. He didn't even notice people were already entering into sight. Even though the Goyo was unleashed, it still ended up a very good push from WhiteTigerZ as they managed to get themselves a second round. And, you know, this is not looking too bad. They seem to be kind of getting themselves back into the game, back into their own type of play style. And they are getting used to it very quickly, and BEE will have to kind of return the favor sooner than later.
I like the decision there from WhiteTigerZ at the end. It's a desperate push back into the site, knowing that there was a lot of delay utility. And BEE were just a little bit too late in detonating some of the fires that could have been used to hold off that push for a little bit longer. But even then, regardless of that, the scoreline is now tied. And BEE, they started this match 2-0. Now we see it tied up 2-2. And now we get to see them go to the second floor. We saw how much BEE tried to utilize these zombies, and they use them in a lot of different ways, not only creating new angles, but also just closing things off for the attack that was really easily accessible to them. And we also see the observation blockers being used this round from Haribo, gonna use it in a way to just block off lines of sights or just angles that BEE want to maybe hold aggressively or passively aggressively. But the push from WhiteTigerZ gonna happen over towards the small tower area. They're gonna clear from the small tower, and then they're gonna try and make their way from the first floor to the site itself.
Yeah, Haribo taking some very heavy damage. Doesn't seem to be challenging the gunfight, though, just yet. But he will be getting held by P13 as he gets one. Does he get the second? Yes, he does. A double kill onto the side of Atiz. And what a shot it was. Not only managing to secure a very good double kill, but, of course, taking out a C4 on the side of BEE. And with that, I mean, there's going to be less destructive power and even less of a chance to kind of deny a plant. The nades are going to be coming out. Do we get to see a third? Maybe we do. It comes out and, oh, doesn't even scratch the player. As, of course, things are starting to tense up, and the push on these attackers is not only fast, deadly, and also with the amount of pressure they're applying is going to be worrisome for these defenders. I mean, Ozar managed to back off just for a bit, but I don't think it's going to be long enough. And I mean, maybe he can get away, but yet again, he's getting droned out. He's getting pushed from all types of sides. It's really just about a waste of time.
Yeah, he just needs to worry about getting a kill. He finds one very close, very narrowly close to a second as Krugi takes him down. But a 4v2 P13, courtesy of him getting that 2K at the beginning of the round. And we saw how that net them so much control towards this first floor. Suffocated Huzar in basement, felt like he had no room to escape. And Dodo finds one, but isn't able to find a second. Garen now in a 1v2 as he was able to slim it down from a 1v3. With about 55 seconds left on the clock, you drone him out, you figure out that he is on site, but how are the last two players alive from WhiteTigerZ gonna play this?
Yeah, it's going to be a bit, maybe control for the nades. They could start just chucking him in from below. They know he's on site, and we already see the sledge very close, but not close enough. And, oh, lowering his HP, but he's still not out of the match just yet. He's going to be there with a 1.5 scope and ready to take on anyone challenging him. Now, it is a 2v1, so they could literally just go for a refrag battle. But the Ionic clone drone is coming in slowly. And, yep, there comes the nade. I don't think it's going to hit, though, Chaka. As, yes, the nades are starting to use, but it's the time that's the problem. He's holding his angle strong, but it's going to be level, taking him out with an unexpected nice peek to finish the job, as WhiteTigerZ will be winning their third round in a row, and this is where it's starting to get concerning.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the 2K early, courtesy of P13, but for most of that round, BEE were very separated from each other. That was one thing that I noticed from their last few games. It's like they have good individual prowess, but sometimes their plays as a team or their locations as a team or in the way they're playing around each other isn't quite there. And you saw it in that 2K from P13. One is running up the white stairs. His teammate isn't really in an area to support him, and just like that, it's a matter of timing, but also just a matter of the fact that your other teammate isn't quick enough to get an immediate trade. And then I like the way WhiteTigerZ they use the map control to their favor to not only get those first two kills and also just kind of like take control of the map and try and make use of the vertical nades, but then they recognize that Huzar was below. Instead of ignoring him and letting him get back into sight by his own lonesome, they were able to overwhelm him on that basement floor, not only by using their drones, but by also setting up players in certain positions on main stairs, on freezer stairs, in freezer. It was like a lot of, they were very overwhelming in how they wanted to do their pressure. And that was one thing that I also noticed in their game against TT9. They have a really good structure to them, and I don't know if it's like the German culture, but like German teams have this like this structure to them, and you can see that in WhiteTigerZ. Very structured team, and they know how to like clutch out rounds, and they know how to not throw things.
Yeah, as we're speaking of that, though, it's going to be level getting 1, and yeah, I still want to get back to that point just for a second, Chaka. I feel like, you know, P13 did a good job. He managed to take out the Jaeger, which did get a bit cocky on the white stairs, and of course, with the position he was in, he was safe from security. Still knew someone was in there just from, you know, kind of it being a commonly held angle or spot. Managed to use that to get a second one, so yeah, it was just all well played from P13, and BEE kind of underestimating them. Now we're going yet again. It seems like the tradition of this warden getting taken out the first is gonna keep it going, as yet again we're ironically pretty much downstairs, so you know, same site, same operator first pick, as of course it's gonna be yet again another roam killer. But yeah, like you mentioned earlier, it seems like BE isn't much of a roamer type. I mean, they aren't putting much of strength into their roaming, as it's going to be P13 with one onto Haribo. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. The rest of the defenders are now just on site, and let's just hope WhiteTigerZ don't throw this.
I mean, again, you see a T is being on this warden, and he gives away his life pretty easily, and it's gonna free up a lot of possibilities for these Candelas and for these smokes to be as effective as possible for the attack, and more kills keep running out here from WhiteTigerZ, leaving Huzar in a 1v5. And look at this, he's forced to make a play onto that first floor and try and take a gunfight, and the rest of WhiteTigerZ taking no chances, hunting him down like the animal he is, and is able to claim a 4-2 half at the end of it.
Oh my goodness, no mercy. It seems like Hunt Showdown will be in progress, as of course, I mean, it seems like yet again they were split up. The warden peaked on his own, challenging the Buck, trying to get a pick of his own, which, you know, kind of trying to even out the man advantage isn't necessarily a bad thing, but you should probably, you know, use the site you have, use this construction you made to your advantage as much as possible. It was expected. P13 got another one, and of course in the end Smoke went roaming, got hunted down just like the Oryx in the previous round, and that was about it. It was a flawless round and a beautiful one at that, as WhiteTigerZ will be going to a 4-2 score on attack before the role swap, which is a very good start. Now they need to be just as well prepared on defense as they were on attack, and you know, kind of use that same gunpowder that they've been using. I mean, their P13 has been absolutely blasting off along with level. They've been 6-0, 5-0. Don't even mention it. They haven't dropped once. Well, okay, we aren't including the round before the, you know, the rehos, but still a very good performance from both of these in just a couple of rounds. Now with that, I'm just gonna highlight something for a second. The floors. Oh, we love to see it. Even with the Azami out of the match, we still have, you know, Frosts, Mutes, Arunis, Jaegers. Even without the Azami, Floors still an absolutely great operator.
Yeah, you look at the utility, there's not really a lot to take care of, I guess. When you look at like kind of like the win conditions for second floor, you're looking towards that trophy position where you saw Krugi place his deployable shield from, which can be the floors can be very useful in clearing that. But then you also have some pretty good counters to the floors, and you know, the observation blockers, and namely is the mute, who can be very, very disruptive to a lot of good Flores players and can be a good nuisance to them.
Yeah, most definitely, but right now it seems like Mini-Me is going to be holding his position in Closet quite well. Although it won't be ending up too good, his damage does get reduced to almost 0. Does manage to walk away with his life still in hands, as of course it's going to be pretty much main breach almost taken over, but he's not going to be letting go of it so easily. I mean, he had the Mew Jammers to support him from any type of floors or any type of intel like Twitch, maybe even just in case any type of drones at all. But in the end, of course, a good old chuck of a nade will be doing the job, as of course, yeah, it's going to be an attic and main breach sided push. Now this is going to be a very split push, so the attackers need to make sure, you know, they don't get flanked. They work together in these duos, as it's going to be a double kill from the side of WhiteTigerZ. Level joined with criticals, taking out Huzar and Haribo, and yet again, it seems like Haribo hasn't been doing quite too well as long as Huzar this game. But you could say that for most of BE right now, as they're just having a troublesome time fighting back.
Yeah, I mean, for BEE, they're doing a lot of things pretty late, getting over into attic, making these attic holes, and trying to put pressure onto these players. And the attic position and trying to just get control of that area in general, and then also just moving into the master bedroom area without any other control towards armory, towards main stairs, and you're enabling a lot of this position being played here from WhiteTigerZ. They can play this as aggressively as they want, and they get plenty of kills from it, 3 in fact. And now, 45 seconds left on the clock, 2 players alive, and they're both on opposite sides of the map.
Yep, this is what we may not want to see. Not at all, to be honest. I mean, we're gonna just mention how, WhiteTigerZ is sticking together quite well. On the armory side, they were both holding a very strong crossfire. And with that, just in general, you couldn't even push it without using too much utility. BEE held out on it, as of course, it will be Garen getting taken out right currently by criticals. And, WhiteTigerZ is sticking together a lot more and using kind of, if one of us dies, the other one will try and kind of refrag that. As BEE is a lot more split up, a lot more far apart. They seem to want to apply more pressure on different positions, but it's a problem where you can't do that alone.
I think the issue there in that round in particular was the fact that they just tried to, they were a little bit more together compared to how they are in their defensive rounds. And I noticed that when they played their defenses, they're a little bit more split up. They're worried about holding certain areas of the map or holding specific angles or specific lines of sight, etc., etc. That's how you usually play defenses on structured maps like Oregon or Cafe or Clubhouse. But the issue that on their attacks, they're a little bit more together. They kind of do have a plan, but they kind of execute it in a weird way or in a way that's not at all effective to the actual game plan. In that situation, they are trying to go for a split push, but they just move into those areas pretty quickly. And when you look at the setup from WhiteTigerZ, you have main stairs control, footholds from the top of main stairs, plus you also have an attic, or not an attic player, but an armory player as well. And you're just trying to move into those areas pretty quickly, but you don't have enough control at all to contest or move into those areas or physically take control of them. So now we get to see WhiteTigerZ 5-2 up, going down into that basement area. Lineup is pretty interesting, especially when you look at the Azami, which has been picked a number of times from Esports when we saw them play their defenses, but then also you see the Valkyrie and you see the Ella 2, and it's gonna get real spicy, I think, in this round.
Oh yes, it will. A Spompy coming on out into Garen as Atif will get a bit of a refrag. It was a worthwhile pick though, as not only are not breaches possible at all, there's no hatches that are going to get opened. The only hard breacher in the entire attacking lineup will be removed. We don't have any secondaries for a Buck or a Yang, but the Thatcher, what is he going to do? He can't really help out with too much of his own gadget, as most he can do is kind of disable mutes, Ella's, and that's about it really. Maybe even Valkyries, but that's not what they brought him here for. As Level took that attempt at getting a spawn peak, and even though he got traded out very quickly or even refragged, it was worth it so badly, not only because of that, but he also placed Valkyrie cameras in his preferred positions, meaning he can do Valkyrie cameras knowing most things. But this Hibana, she doesn't have that much, not even nearly, to go off of, as of course, it's a very worthwhile trade, and attackers are now going to have to go into the defender's territory to fight them on the defender's positions.
Again, basement, pretty bunker heavy, but it's not really bunker heavy in the like the traditional sense. It's bunker heavy in the fact that there's just a lot of crossfires and just a lot of angles that you have to watch out for. And with those hatches being closed, permanently closed, because there's no other hard breach utility from BEE, these power positions are going to stay. But BEE, well, where are they gonna push? How are they gonna encounter these angles? You have nades at your disposal. The EMP impacts won't necessarily help. The Claymores won't necessarily help neither, because WhiteTigerZ have no reason to go for a flank. Well, what can they do in this round? Well, win their gunfights, and Dodo starts us off with 1.
He gets one onto Minimi as Atiz seems to be going for a plant, not working out entirely. Now, with that in mind, we could be considering that there's going to be another one from Hazar onto Kurogi, making it a 4v2 situation, and, you'd never expect it for these gunfights to be going out so wildly, but there they are! Oh, whoa, a shotgun from the side of Criticals, P13 with 1, gets refragged by Harbo the next second, and oh my god, this Warden is just ruthless. The nade comes out, doesn't take him out completely, though. Now he's in a 1v2, and with 30 seconds on the clock, and, 24 to defuse. He will be taken out by Haribo. Oh, what a push and a valid one from the Warden, but in the end, it seems like BEE will not be giving up one of these wins so easily. They want to keep it as close as possible and, you know, want to heighten up their chances at winning as much as you would want to. Now making it a 5-3 score, they're getting a bit closer, but you got to remember, WhiteTigerZ are right now one match away from match point, and we're going to be going back into laundry and supply because giving that side a second chance is not the worst of decisions.
Something you gotta watch out for if you're WhiteTigerZ. BEE have pretty good individual players on this team. You look at players like, I mean, not really a lot of them are performing individually, but Dodo in particular has been pretty good on a lot of these rounds individually, or at least in a couple of the defensive rounds. He was a pretty key factor in them winning them. We saw a couple of times where Haribo was getting involved. Garen, these players individually can do their job. It's all about really coming together as a team and just trying not to give away that first initial pick. And I mean, for Garen, I don't really think that was necessarily his fault. Spawn peaks are very hit or miss, and usually they're very hard to predict and very hard to shut down, especially if you don't expect the team to do them. And I don't think in that sense Garen did. So now we see WhiteTigerZ gonna go back to that basement side of things that came down to them just losing gunfights, and so they feel the need to try that site again, thinking that, well, you know, we just had some little bit of an errors in our positionings in that late round, so you know, we can fix that. Those are fixable. It's not like a strategic issue, it's just a personal issue.
Yeah, but P13 is going to be taking this up close and front. He always seems to be the aggressive type along with Level, and they will be the one to take it into their own hands. And of course, he will not be getting away unscathed as his HP has dropped. Below 20 without a question. Level still roaming around. Krugi coming in to support him. And Level getting one. It's going to be Haribo out of the match. Unexpected. And a good pick for themselves. The Yana, no more nades seem to be brought on as they don't have a sledge. They do have secondary breaches, but that won't matter. Krugi gets taken out by Huzar. And yeah, you know, at least it's brought some sort of protection. If the Habana does die, they still have the buck, so they don't necessarily have to rely off of guns, purely guns blazing into sight. And, you know, they may have gotten the Yana taken out, but getting a bit of a refrag won't be bad as a tease. We'll be getting one onto criticals, and it seems like the Warden is going to be one of the earlier picks yet again. And with that in mind, I mean, we're looking at a very fastly opened up match.
Saw WhiteTigerZ do a really good job teaming up together on that first initial pick. If we saw Krugi, if Levo didn't get that first pick, then it was going to get Krugi, but Levo rotates up the main stairs, trying to go for a little bit of a flank, and that proved to be his demise. Now we see Garen take control of the bottom laundry stairs. Mira's staring right at him, but man advantage is certainly not in your favor. Ping's going out, so they have some information on where these, at least one of these two players are from WhiteTigerZ, but P13 finds one. Blind Call goes out, a minute left on the clock, and another kill for BEE, but also another kill for WhiteTigerZ. Mini-Me in the 1v2 situation.
Yeah, right now looking quite tight. He moves positions, starting to get a bit more aggressive on that freezer position. As 40 seconds are on the clock, and right now it's going to be the plan that should not be as easily secured. I mean, the diffuser is still in laundry. The flashers are coming out. The Mirror decides to push, giving up her position, as it's going to be the Buck from her back, shooting her, taking her out, and finishing the job as BEP will be getting their fourth round, making it a 5-4 score. Now, this is where we could be maybe potentially seeing a bit of a tactical timeout now yet, though. Of course, WhiteTigerZ are still looking high and mighty. Maybe they can just, you know, go upstairs and change up the pace real quick, as it seemed like BEE started adapting to their place out just a bit more. I mean, the Valkyrie gave up her position trying to flank laundry stairs. She shot out the drone, pretty much giving a tick that she will be coming upstairs and she will be facing you in a second. So, you know, taking that into account, she gets taken out, and just making it worse, it was a 4v2, or I believe it was a big man advantage, to say the least. As with that, BEE, I mean, they're getting closer to the goal of getting this win.
Yeah, I think this would be a good time for WhiteTigerZ to take a little bit of a timeout just to talk things over. The last two basement rounds we saw them try and take a different approach to one. The first one was a little bit more turtle heavy and a little bit more passive, and then the second one was a lot more aggressive around the map. We saw good teamwork come out from both the Levy and Krugi on that first initial kill, and while it wasn't pretty obvious, you know, they were kind of playing for a trade game. Levy dies and Krugi's able to get the kill, but then they just played a little bit too aggressively, gave away their picks, and that would be a good time to call a timeout just to talk things over, calm some nerves down. This was originally a 5-2 lead from WhiteTigerZ, now cut down to just a 5-4, one round apart from both of these teams, and Esports have done a really good job off of capitalizing off of some over aggression and also just some misplays and mishaps coming in from WhiteTigerZ.
Yeah, we're not going to be getting to see any Azami, but the floors will be there to still counter some gadgets. Aggression could be coming in any second as Level yet again. He's been the hot hand of Team WhiteTigerZ most of these rounds, to say the least, without any question. But he seems to have been getting shut down in the recent, you know, rounds. I mean, the previous one, he managed to get himself a kill, but right after that, at the end, he was the first victim to come along, as right now he'll be the first pick. And it seems like they're starting to get a bit more predictable, you could say. You know, this aggression or this type of, you know, this very open play style can never be too good once figured out. So you may want to switch it up, or might as well just go all out with the aggression. It's really up to you, but you have to switch something, as it's going to be Level. Of course, yeah, it's a 5v4. It's not too early into the game. We still have a minute and 30 remaining, so it shouldn't be too bad, as Attic and Main Breach are going to be getting pushed slowly. But with that, I mean, it's still a lot of gadgets we haven't played, and we saw the Frostman, which could be, I'm just going to say with the exclamation, could be very dangerous.
WhiteTigerZ push themselves back into a little bit of a hole, back into the hole being their site. BEE, they're kind of surrounding it just a little bit. Where the play is going to be made here from WhiteTigerZ, seeing as a lot of the map control isn't necessarily in their favor. Where are the flanks? Where is literally anything? Level was the first one to aggress, but then after that, we're not really seeing a lot of action coming in here from WhiteTigerZ. They're very content in letting BEE have the map, but I mean, they have crossfires going in their favor. The only control that, or the only pressure that they're seeing is the pressure that's like right in front of them. There is no pressure behind, or at least there isn't at the moment.
Oh, a very good kill from the side of the Sludge AK. Haribo gets refragged instantly. Zofia coming out with one. Krugi will be joining the deathbed as Minimi will be getting taken out, as of course it's going to be Garen finishing the job onto P13, and a very nice shot. Oh my goodness, one to the other, kind of connected the dots. Of course, those being the heads of the enemy players, managing to get another round for BEE Esports. Now, where's this tactical timeout? I feel like BEE is just kind of letting BEE take this flow, take this energy, you know. They're just keeping up the surge of whether they want to win more rounds or not. And I'm surprised WhiteTigerZ didn't, you know, go for a TT like a round or two ago already, as right now, whoever can win 2 rounds fast is not only going to be deciding the victory of this match, but also if we go into overtime or not.
Last few rounds, momentum has certainly dragged on for BEE and WhiteTigerZ. Again, in that last round, I felt like there wasn't really a lot of action. They had no back push to worry about in those final few seconds, and nobody really tried to make or really do much of anything. They were very afraid to make a play because, you know, they make plays or they try to do over aggressive plays and they get punished for it. And when you're punished like that over and over again as a player, you think, well, if I try and do something again, it's gonna get punished again. And I think that's the thinking for WhiteTigerZ. They're afraid to do certain things or to try and make certain plays because they've been shut down before, but it was because they made really the wrong quote unquote the wrong plays in a lot of different situations. And so when they're shut down like that, they're afraid to actually go for plays that actually would make a lot of sense, being aggressive, trying to find a pick back or actually do something. And now BEE, we see them 5-5. They've done a good job of just bringing these rounds back and getting into the thick of things.
Do we even want to mention how that mirror window was absolutely tragically murdered by the Twitch drone, as of course that's a very important utility getting kind of taken out a bit more early into the round, and it also can be game changing. I mean, the previous round that mirror was... In the previous rounds, the mirror, when she was used, she seemed to have a decent impact on how these attackers could push and how they could interact with the sides themselves, as of course, they're going to be getting straight for it, as that Twitch will be coming into use as much as it can. Now, we don't have much Twitch drones left, but with that in hand, I mean, still a good use of it, a good trade to go out. As of course, I mean, with that, not much is happening right now. We're just waiting for these players to start, not only attempting to make their execution ready, but then it comes the execution themselves. We need time for that. I mean, the Thatcher's coming out, but the K-tricking will be there to prevent it, and it seems like there's gonna be no hatch being broken. BEE seeming a lot more in a lot more of a frustrating position here. I mean, the Maru could be also a bit of an aggressive load right here, as that, I mean, it's gonna get heated really soon.
See what happens here. They can't really get open the E-box hatch. It's a pretty important or pivotal part to this push, and now they're gonna force themselves down in stairways. No hatch plays to be found, and guess what? They're gonna find them. This is a pretty rough gunfight, but they light up the scoreboard, and BEE match point. What happened?
Hello? What? Well, I guess we're not going to be having any dreams tonight. This is a traumatizing event for the side of WhiteTigerZ, as BEE went from a 5v5 to a 5v0 in under 10 seconds. The tactical pause, I'm assuming just a pause for now, not a tactical timeout, should be in progression or not. We don't seem to have too much word from the side of production. I'm just gonna ask what would the pause happen? From Epsilon, do we know anything? Alright, we don't have a clue. Yeah, it seems like no pause is gonna be happening, but Jacka, let's talk about the previous round for just a second. What can you lead us through it just for a second?
That was just a really good collapse from BEE. I don't really know how to explain it. They had no E-box hatch. No E-box hatch open. Nothing like that. And they were just able to collapse from a lot of different areas. And I think the biggest thing about that push was the fact that the push BEE were so good in not making that push very one-dimensional. It wasn't just coming from one side. The push was coming in from everywhere, from freezer, from laundry, from pillar stairs, from construction. It was coming from everywhere. And so WhiteTigerZ, they're very overwhelmed already with the way that these rounds are going, I'm sure. But also, that whole round is just very overwhelming. You're having to figure out where the push is, and it's very hard to figure out where the push is when BEE are just pushing in from literally everywhere.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I feel like, you know, you want to go for a refrag, your teammate just got taken out. The next second, you're getting shot from another direction, and you can't really choose what you want to go with. As another one comes into bunker, it's going to be one onto the side of the mirror. P13, joined by the Azami and Criticals. What is happening? A team kill coming onto the Blitz. Oh my goodness, I'm going to have a sore throat after this. As a Garen gets one more, the Blitz gets picked up, and oh, it's a 1v4 for BEE Esports, and of course, Level being left behind. He's gonna push tower stairs, getting taken out. Oh, and BEE will be winning this match, and of course a very flashy last round. You never thought you could flabbergast a caster on Oregon, but here we are looking exactly at that. And yeah, BEE winning it, and oh my goodness.
BEE with the very first map win of the quarterfinals today, and well, the very first map win between them and WhiteTigerZ, a map that statistically favors WhiteTigerZ, going in favor of the Hungarians, and you can't write a better story than that. The way that those rounds went were absolutely ridiculous in favor of BEE, and now it's back to the drawing board for WhiteTigerZ as they trail a map down and are going to their opponent's map pick of Villa.
Alright, but before that commences, can we have, yeah, we're going to be throwing you to a break, and we'll be seeing you after a short while. Bye-bye.
Where is it written that all our dreams must be small ones?
Faint lights in the distance, the thin line that separates your shadows.
Welcome back, everyone, to Titan Series Season 4. I am your host, as always, Gorel, and with me are my two lovely casters that are going to be right down below me, both Jaeger and Leo, to introduce this new map. Hello, gentlemen. Let's talk about this game and this brand new map, Villa. I mean, not brand new, but yeah, new for this series.
We're back in 2019, it's all over again, and I like you call us casters, we're analyzing we are casters at heart. Today, but we do have the lovely Bob and Chaco who will join us here a bit later, but on to our second map for today, Leo, we're playing Villa.
The classic
Right, yeah,
mute issue.
Hello.
Good. Let's talk about the map. Villa. What do we got?
Oh, can you hear me? Yeah, I should be here.
Yeah?
Yeah, right. All right, cool. Yeah. So we just had a crazy game in Oregon. I guess we're just gonna ignore it for a little bit here. Although we had a crazy comeback by B. They had a crazy reverse sweep, but that's okay. We're moving on to Villa now, and yeah. Igor, what do you have about Villa here?
I mean, like I said, sorry, there's some technical issues on my
Oh
end.
yeah, okay.
Audio.
Right, okay.
No,
Yeah,
I do have
that-
audio. There's my audio
I
being
got it.
repeated twice. So
All right, cool.
it's-
So basically the record on Villa was like 15-3 for WhiteTigerZ for the entire year, right? So I guess that's something to talk about here. Besides that, the comeback was insane in Oregon. So yeah, we had that as well.
Yeah.
But we have no
Alright.
analysis for Villa because we didn't play it yet.
Fair enough. All right. Yeah, that was a very professional analysis from an analysis desk, with one being on mute permanently now for some reason. So anyway, we'll try and smooth over this mess, and we'll bring it over to the casters. Please save this stream.
Oh my goodness, what a match, or what a bit of a hassle we had here, Chaka, as I guess it's gonna get thrown to us a bit, and hello, welcome back to Casty.
Well, you know what, girl? We'll do our best to save the stream. It's been a very rough day for everyone involved, including, well, just limited to just WhiteTigerZ. After that first map of Oregon, now going on to Villa, BEE's own map pick. We saw how well BE were able to find their way back into that matchup. Originally, it was 5-2 in favor of WhiteTigerZ, getting that 4-2 half. And then after that, we saw WhiteTigerZ kind of mentally snowball into themselves, and then BEE were able to just get back into it time and time again until they were able to finally get the map win there on Oregon to put themselves, well, now on serious points. And that means with them being on serious point, obviously they get to go into that semifinals if they were to win Villa, but they have to get through Villa before we can even say that they're victors in this game.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Although it is interesting how we did mention at the start of the previous match, WhiteTigerZ did seem to have Oregon a bit more favor towards them, and they had also a bit of a better start. I mean, they started off with I believe it was a 5-2, 5-3 score, something among like those lines, but it ended up with a 7-5. So, Jaka, do you have an explanation for maybe what could have went wrong?
Well, I mean, on the first map of Oregon, I just saw a lot of times where WhiteTigerZ got a little bit too, like, aggressive, or they tried some things that didn't really make a lot of sense, and then they tried to do some plays here and there, and all of that got shut down by BE. Once that got shut down, you saw WhiteTigerZ kind of, like, shut down mentally. They didn't want to try new things, and then every time they tried something, they got shut down, and it just kind of discouraged them from trying anything new, or even it discouraged them mentally. And when you're down mentally, you kind of overthink yourself. You're overthinking your gunfights, you're overthinking your plays, your positioning. We saw that a lot of times from WhiteTigerZ, especially towards the end of Oregon. Now on Villa, it's a time for a mental reset. You know, I talked about it a lot during Oregon. I felt like they should have had a tactical timeout, maybe talk some things over with each other, calm the nerves down a little bit, maybe have a little bit of banter, but we didn't see that. Now you have that time between the map break to have that banter, to slow things down, to calm things down, talk about the map of Villa, what you plan to do. And they start out on this defense, and this is a good side to start off on. Villa's a very defender-sided map, or it's kind of defender-sided depending on how you look at it. And so I think this is a good start for them if they want to try and bring themselves back into the series.
Most definitely. I mean, the mentality right now could be spiking up. You mentioned that the tactical timeout, and it's always these tactical timeouts out here in T4. It seems like teams aren't as usually taking them as they can. I mean, it's up to them. It's free. We're giving them these tactical timeouts. And if you need a bit of a mental pause, if you need to talk things through like you mentioned, you most definitely should, because if you don't, well, we're going to be seeing what happened just the previous match in a bit of a repeat. Although, let's actually talk about the bans, which do interest me just a bit. We're going to be seeing the Dokkaebi and the Floors, which aren't much of a surprise. Still very strong operators. But the Zami and the Solus are both in the match, which could be tie turning just for a bit. I mean, we got the Fenrir and the Valkyrie out, which both are reasonable bans. But in my opinion, you should at least kind of consider a Solus or an Izami, because they are both extremely strong on pretty much all maps. I mean, you can't go wrong with them, so putting them into a ban wouldn't be necessarily bad. But it is what it is as we're heading into the actual phase. Now, it seems like Master is going to be pushed quite heavily. I mean, we have the Yana, we have Garen with a knock, and even Hazar right now joining them along. So they're going to be fully taking out, pretty much just going for 90 and not applying too much pressure to the side of Study as for now.
It's interesting that we see the Solos being brought in the very first round, but not the Izami as well to partner with that, considering how important deployable shields and just how important blocking the lines with sight is on this map. We see Haribo start us off with the very first kill here for BE, so ending off that hot streak on Oregon, starting it off here on Villa.
Yeah, most definitely critical seems to be out of the board. It's the Jaeger, so not too much utility going away as he has already placed down his. But, I mean, with the time being wasted is not bad. And, of course, the Solus comes out, but she does not expect it. Level gets taken out, and it's going to be STs with another one, a 3v5, as BEE are looking, again, very decisive. They're looking very deadly at this current moment. They're going to be taking out the Golios. They're going to be taking out most utility, and I mean, with a Solus out of the match, which is a very good flanker right here, is going to be, oh my goodness, a double kill coming in from Haribo, as there's going to be a bit of a refrag in the moment, but it's still a 2v3. B is not looking bad. The smoke is still there to waste some time in the end game, and he has the diffuser, so the Goyo will be coming out right there, but it's still a man disadvantage as it goes even worse. P13 taking some damage. The smoke gets taken out. He gets cornered, and that's going to be it, as of course, Nook with a very nice way to finish off these two players.
It was a good way to find themselves back into the round, courtesy of Krugi finding a 2K, but then the early picks that were found through BEE, just finding separated players throughout the map and then capitalizing off of them not only being separated, but also just capitalizing off of just some unexpected plays. Early picks going in their favor means that BE not only gets those picks and that man count in their favor, but also it's also the map control too. And you saw how when Krugi got those first 2 kills, he had Case inside of 90. He tries to rotate back to site, smoke off that 90 area, but then he's immediately cut off from an additional BEE player just already into sight. So BE wasting no time, taking advantage of the map control that they were given, that they earned forthrightly in that early round situation. WhiteTigerZ, trial and error. We see that they lost that first round through onto this ABG site. They're gonna go straight back to this area, and I mean, I don't know what to think about that. They did that a couple times on Oregon, and it didn't really net them anything positive. So we'll see how it goes on Villa. Nothing's really changed though with their lineup. It's the same exact lineup.
Yeah, not much of a change. We still have the smoke. We still have pretty much the same old operators. Let's hope level won't be as unfortunate as to run into someone on the side of Kitchen, of course. That was not only kind of a very bad way to end up, but also a very big tie turn. I mean, the Sola's getting taken out, which is pretty much considered the best flanker at this situation, or just one of the better positions to be roaming with that gadget. She was, she was kind of in the middle of using it again, and she isn't necessarily IQ who can shoot in the middle of the usage of the drone, or the gadget, not the drone. And yeah, with that, you can't really fight for your life, protect yourself, and with that, she managed to, end up getting taken out. But she's going to be doing a bit of an Uno reversity. She's going to be planning on flanking them from where she got flanked, as P13, along with criticals, will be taking out. Oh, and Hazard gets taken, not out fully. He is down, but, with that along, I mean, it's looking at a bit of a repeat. What keeps up these constant just early picks onto the side of WhiteTigerZ?
Information, it seems, from BE just being really solid and hoping Haribo clear out the map. Plus, no real refrag coming in through them. Levo tries to rotate up those astronomy stairs, gets clapped by a tease just holding the cutoff on the astronomy window. Krugi, though, finds himself in position to get another kill, and he was very effective in that last round for WhiteTigerZ. Not really, though, because they didn't lose it. And now he finds himself in a 1v4, can't find a kill, and it's a tease to close out that round for BE as they grab 2 in a row.
Even with the Solus in hand, it seems like the defenders aren't having too much of a great time around their intel destruction or denial. As of course, BE will be getting another round for their own. And I mean, for attack, they're looking very good. I mean, the first 2 rounds already, and not only are these 2 rounds like something very close. It's not like WhiteTigerZ was in a 1v1. The plant was down. It was last 5 seconds. It wasn't something close. It was early 3 kills in an instant. I mean, it just all goes down in a second. The smoke did manage, or Krogi did manage, to pick off one for himself. But then there's the thing, he was left in a 1v3 situation. He was outside, detected, pretty much letting the attackers know, hey, I'm here, I'm gonna jump into this window, and I cannot move from this position because you guys are already watching me, and I'll get shot. Which in the end, he tries challenging, did manage to get challenged back, and he got taken out. And now, I do like how you mentioned, that WhiteTigerZ seem to like going to the same position twice. Doesn't end up working out as well as it did for them now. And we're going to be going into kitchen dining, which, well, can be a very, aggressive site. We already see the pulse. We have 3 C4s on the side of defense. So, I mean, along with the Solus, the intel could be insane. But it really depends off of the attackers if they even go vertical.
Well, looks like that is going to be the focus here from BEE. They have 2 soft reaching both the sledge and the buck, so that means that their focus should be towards the first or the second floor. As you see, most of the roam here from WhiteTigerZ is going to be extended towards that library side. No setup towards the second floor, or at least what I saw in the prep phase, there was no setup towards the second floor. For the teams, it doesn't really matter where the setup is. BE is going to keep finding that first opening pick, and this might lead to this being the 8th round in a row for BE after just a good start yet again for the Hungarian side.
Most definitely an early kill yet again onto level. WhiteTigerZ, you need to stop allowing them to get these early frags. As of course, right now we saw the intel on the side of the attack. I mean, they had the drone. They found out where the Capcan was. Level as well got taken. And it comes out a C4 from Krugi. A bit of a questionable one. Could be a bit more on a default position, as he's going to be sticking his sides to living room. Could be getting challenged any second. He's trying to hold off any type of easy rotation or access for these attackers when it comes to ground control. And I mean, that's going to be Krugi along with criticals. A double kill coming in again, making it a 2v5 for the 3rd time in a row. P13 joining in at ease with a triple kill. And now again, it is Mini-Me in a 1v5 situation. This is looking bad. What is WhiteTigerZ doing? Mini-Me not even on sight. It's like previous round gets dropped, as it's going to be Hazar with a flawless onto the side of BEE. Oh my goodness, Chaka! 3 runs in a row, instant picks. It's just crumbling for WhiteTigerZ.
I mean, it's not only just 3 rounds in a row. That's 8 rounds in total that BEE are just able to win. They're on a roll now. Momentum's clearly in their favor. And on top of that, it's just the way that they're winning these rounds is just absolutely mental. The way that they've improved from Oregon now onto Villa, in a way that they're just being absolutely clinical, and just they're in a way that they're just executing their plans. They're able to find these isolated picks. They're able to use their intel quite effectively to get their entries in, and to get them in really good spots where they're able to capitalize off of just some really good positions and be able to cut off some of these roamers. Now, it looks like we do have a rehost for BE. I wonder if it's going to be confirmed by the admins, but regardless of that, even then, BE have been very, very clinical in the way that they're carrying out their executes on these rounds. They're able to isolate the roamers, they're able to drone out really, really effectively, and it's helping their entries tenfold in just being very effective at what they're supposed to do. Getting the entry picks, getting the first bloods.
Yeah, seems like we're going to be getting a rehost, though. It could have been a false accusation on a gadget skin, maybe not. We're going to check into that. Epsilon, the production will let us know as soon as as soon as we get the message. But yeah, I mean, good point. They seem to not allow the enemy team or WhiteTigerZ themselves to kind of just get those refrags. They shut them down instantly. It's an instant swipe. They get one, they get the second. Then it's pretty much over. There's not even a potential refrag to even come through. And I mean, with that type of force they're emanating, it's really hard to play against. And yeah, it's either a change of play style or you have to start adapting fast. You mentioned this was the 8th round pretty much they won in a row throughout these 2 matches. And yeah, I mean, a tactical timeout, might as well use it right now. It's a bit too early, but it seems like the mentality's still down even after the break.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what more a tactical pause can do, because you've had the opportunity to talk between maps. There
True.
Shouldn't be any mental issues, I would think, this early on in a map. I mean, it's a good time, even though it's pretty early in a map, it's only 3 rounds in. This will be a good time to take a pause, because it's not really the fact that they're just 3 rounds down and it's to zip. Like I said, it's pretty early to take a timeout. It's the way that they're losing these rounds. It's pretty dominant in favor of BE, and you need to find a way to stop the bleeding and figure out, well, how are we going to like counter the way that BE are playing? What is our main issue? Well, the main issue is the fact that everybody's getting picked off one by one. You're easily isolated, but one thing that I'm seeing from BE that's very, very common from them is the fact that they're almost always sending one player to do the job of the entry picks. It's almost always one player that's left hunting down these lone roamers, whether it's Haribo or whoever it is, it's usually one player, and that means that that one player can be easily isolated by two players on a roam if WhiteTigerZ can make that small adjustment. But with the way that they're looking mentally, I can't say mentally because we're not in the call with them, but like with the way that they're playing, it just looks like they're mentally defeated at the moment.
Yeah, they seem down. I mean, you mentioned the tactical timeout would not only necessarily be because they're 3 rounds down, it's also because they've been kind of continuing this loss for not only this match, but the previous one as well. They kind of carried it over to this one, so it feels like even though they had the time to talk, not much has changed. I mean, we don't see much of a change. I mean, BEE is still dominant, and they're showing it. It's not, like, again, it's not very close matches that these are, or rounds that these are closing up with. It's a 5v2 almost instantly. It just gets shut down instantly, and I mean, right now came a bit of a questionable. Do we have any information on what's happening from the side of production? All right, yeah, I think we're going to be sending it for a bit of a break just to get this all sorted out, and we'll probably be seeing you in a short while. All right.
Well,
Yes.
well, it looks like we are back with our match between both. It's not the blue team and the orange team, but it is WhiteTigerZ versus BEE. And if you guys are just now tuning back into it, BEE not only won the very first map, but they've also won the opening 3 rounds here on Villa. And it's just not these rounds haven't been very close at all. BEE have looked absolutely clinical in the way that they want to execute these attacks. And it's showing not only, well, on the scoreline, but it's also showing on, well, not even just on their scoreboards right now, but it was before the rehost happened.
Yeah, and I mean, there's still, I mean, I guess you couldn't really call this break a bit of a talk through for these teams, but they most definitely have had time between the matches, and of course, with, I guess if you can include this couple of second break. But yeah, I mean, I don't think WhiteTigerZ are kind of understanding to what point they're really going wrong. Maybe they're just spreading themselves too much. Maybe there's a issue with, you know, how they execute things, but there's something wrong. I mean, he's doing something right where WhiteTigerZ isn't, and with that, that's where it comes with this difference. I mean, it's been really dominant, and like we said, I'm gonna keep repeating this if needed, but it has been carrying over for the second match, and if WhiteTigerZ don't do much, I think the obvious answer for who's going to be winning this should be out there. But yeah, there's never too sure, as of course a bit of aggressive playstyle again from Levo. Seems to be playing in the same position. I'm assuming he's just waiting for, you know, maybe someone to come back into kitchen like he did in the first round, but it's not going to be going too well. I mean, most of the times Levo has been here, tried pushing up, got taken out. It was one way or the other, or tried pushing back and still got taken out. So, you know, these players still need to kind of working with each other to open up these dents in BEE's team just to execute off of them.
I mean, I highlighted it before we actually went into the break. I noticed a lot of times when BEE are actually sending their entry fraggers in, they're sending them in by themselves, and I feel like WhiteTigerZ could find a way to capitalize off of that just a little bit more instead of their roamers being so split up and allowing these 50-50 gunfights to be challenged here from BE, you can try and do that yourself, but do it more as a team because they're sending in these players by themselves, and Dodo finds himself being end up an opening pick. WhiteTigerZ, courtesy of that going through critical, and well, that's a good start for WhiteTigerZ and a good way to slow the bleeding.
Yeah, most definitely a very early pick onto the line. Still was not able to use all of his scans, and with that, I mean, it was most definitely a good pick to start off. Now, yeah, of course, we still have the zombies up, which will need to start getting cleared. We see the Ash, and of course, you know, we have the action play, which could be up to that. And we see the Solar starting to sneak up. She sees the Nomad. It's not placed too well. She takes it out, but I'm assuming she's not going to be going for it. It would be a bit too risky. Nomad's still on the flank, though. She sees the call. She sees the phone. This could be very tight turning. I mean, they've been having a bit more of a rough time, but the Solus is starting to come into play a lot more. And like you said, it's starting to execute off of it better as level gets 1. It's going to be, of course, T's getting taken out. P13 joining Alon, taking out Huzarg. And with that, it's going to be the Ash. And of course, Krugi coming in with a Lung. And of course, level to finish it off in a flawless round right after we just had a bit of a tide turning event. Now with that, I mean, WhiteTigerZ definitely changed something in this short amount of time.
Yeah, I mean, in that sense, it just won their opening engagements, won their 50-50 gunfights, and were just able to drag it over in the round. But even then, regardless of that, it's a good round to claim for WhiteTigerZ. It's a good one for the confidence after just being beaten down for so long. That's, you know, it's a good one. It's a good one to get. You're happy about that, and I hope for WhiteTigerZ, they're happy about it. As we go into their next defensive round, they're going to go to Trophy Statuary. And of course, just an update on the band since they aren't showing up on the screen. Just ignore that. It is going to be Flores, Dokkaebi, Fenrir, and Valkyrie. And of course, well, we won't really be seeing those operators being played because they are banned, but because they are just not allowed whatsoever. But we will be seeing on the side of WhiteTigerZ the fact that because Valkyrie's banned, and also, yeah, because Valkyrie's banned, you'll see a lot more variation and a lot of intel gathering operators. Of course, Solus has been pretty prevalent in the WhiteTigerZ lineup, and so far in every single one of their defensive rounds. But also something that is a little bit new is Mini-Me on Maestro. You don't get to see Maestro a lot, but it is quite exciting when you do.
Yeah, most definitely. He could be called a bit of an exceptional operator. You don't have much place to work with him, but when you do, he most definitely could be a terrifying one to go up against. The cameras are very good. I mean, he has a great gun to work with. The Alda is a very terrifying, just absolute spread of bullets to face off against. And I mean, just the utility clearance you can get with the Maestro Evil Eyes as well. Yeah, I mean, you can destroy drones. You can pretty much deny planting, to be exactly up to point. And with that, I mean, Maestro is a good pick. Just, it's not like he can always be used as openly as, let's say, a Nizami or something that's pretty much a bit of a jack of all trades, to say the least. But it seems like right now, WhiteTigerZ is starting to hold the ground just a bit better. As soon as I mentioned that level with 1 onto Huzarg, the sledge gets taken out. Very good utility wasted right there. It's going to be the grenades plus a bit of a hammering time getting denied, as of course, yet again, they seem to be, this is the second round where they seem to be doing a lot better. They got the opening pick, and this is looking a lot better, Chaka.
It's looking a lot better. We see WhiteTigerZ keep, well, consistently throughout the last 2 rounds find that first opening pick, but also I think Huzar was sticking down below, and he can't use those nades in order to remove some of the utility that exists below, or at least on the site here from WhiteTigerZ. And even then, the utility is very hard to reach considering that critical is on a Kaid, and you can place those literally anywhere. Now, you see a second pick come in from WhiteTigerZ, making this a 5v3 in their favor, but a nice shot from Garen makes it even more possible, at least in this case for BE. They lose those 2 picks, but they're able to get 1 back, and they have some control over towards this master bedroom.
Yes, they do. Rushing in. That's the Kate out. A bit of a refrag or a trade coming on to the side of course, the Yana. It will be a 3v2 situation. The Alda still out. We have the Mozzie and some C4s for the Warden. The Google Glass is coming into clutch. Could be a very good one. There's the Maestro. Another kill. It will be from P13. And, of course, the Mozzie to finish off the job, not allowing them to pass through so easily. And this is where WhiteTigerZ have seemingly done better. I mean, I want to highlight this end time a bit more specifically, because normally from what we've been seeing in this situation, I feel like normally, the Habana would have gotten the double kill, the Mozzie would have gotten the refrag, and the 1v1 would have ensued, but this time it was a lot more expected. They played closer. The Warden was ready to back up the Maestro in case anything happened. I mean, the Mozzie wasn't a 1v1 of his own. He kind of had to pay attention to his own thing, but they were closer. The team chemistry was there, the positioning. That's what we wanted to see. When it comes to these types of gunfights, you want to work as a team, especially against a team like BEE Esports that has been right now kind of just taking advantage of that and putting dents into your gameplay, pretty much not allowing you to play as you should. Now, with that in mind, I mean, they got in a good round, and yeah, we will be having a bit of an issue as we have a Valkyrie with no cameras. How would we resolve this, Chaka?
I mean, yeah, I think just shooting out the cameras is the right idea. It seems like BEE are okay with that, and I mean that's the most important part of Valkyrie, right? Not considering the fact that she has a Nitro, so the MPX is a P shooter, so it doesn't really matter. And the Deagle is quite inconsistent and not at all reliable in a lot of situations. It's just there for fun. But even then, regardless of that, the camera's destroyed. It's okay for now. Maybe you get rid of the Nitro cell so it's not available to you, and you could just get the gun. I think that's suitable enough, but getting rid of the cameras is okay.
Yeah, that's the most fair you can go. I mean, Team B did agree with it, so we're all fine. We're on equal grounding here, so, as long as everyone's fine with it, we have no problem at all. Now, with that, I mean, it's going to be the Valkyrie without her cameras. Quite a questionable decision, but a gunfight ensuing very closely. Level gets taken out. He seems to have been a very strong, kind of starter picker character or player for the side of WhiteTigerZ, which could be changing up how this round goes. Another kill coming out, but it's going to be Husker getting taken out. The IQ is off the board. Deagle coming out. We maybe could receive some nice shots. Cookie himself's in a battle. Haribo taking some heavy fire. And wow, this is going a bit faster than it was before. But still, we do have Lara of the match, which with 4 kills in a couple of rounds, not even that much, seeming to be the top fragger of the team, not performing too bad.
And I think Krugi thought he got it down there, but the most he can do in this position is just waste time, get a kill. That's great, but immediately refrag. Even then, he wastes a lot of time on that attack from BEE, and you remove the IQ and also the line, but the IQ doesn't really matter in this case. The only thing, well, actually it does, because you saw the lineup there from WhiteTigerZ is the fact that they had 4 Nitro Cells in pocket, plus the Solus and the Post together teaming up. Mainly the Post using that information in order to find a way to get those Nitro Cells off itch. But even then, what a shot from Garen to confirm a kill and put BE back into the lead of things. They have that man advantage, and they also have a lot of map control to show for it. Plus, they at least still have their self-destruction alive, so there is that as well.
Oh, yes, we're looking, it seems like, right now BEE is going back on their feet. The pulse coming in very useful for criticals, and of course, P13, they do want to know the positions as much as they can. They seemingly know there's going to be a lot of verticality included. We still have 3 nades. C4 coming out, it's a bit of a questionable one. He could be detonating it, but it doesn't do too much. You could have used it a bit better. The second one does come out, takes out the sledge, as it seems like the verticality is going to be a lot more limited right now, but the push is starting to slowly go down. With 20 seconds on the line, they not only need to get the diffuser on, but take out these remaining players. The crossfire could be very deadly from these if it is being held correctly, as of course a gunfight will ensue. I mean, this pulse right now is looking quite comfortable. He's in a safe position, notices the flashes, plays the full host, gets taken out, Garen with a triple kill, and of course it's gonna be Haribo finishing off the job on the Yana pushing in. Both put into 1v1 situations, as it was BEE the one coming out with a victory and managing to give themselves a 4-2 score as the role swap ensues. And now it's going to be BEE with a defense. Now, Chaka, I do recall you saying defense is a bit more favored on this map. Well, of course, depending on how you look at it, but just in general, you could say it is a bit more favored, right?
Yeah, I would say that on Villa, it's a tricky question because Villa has been one of those maps where it's where at the beginning when it was first released, of course, it had like lighting changes and stuff like that to make it a little bit easier for the attackers to be able to see into the map and all that good stuff. But even then, regardless of that, when it first came out, it was extremely defender sided. Then like when people started to get more used to it, it was kind of more attacker sided. Then when it started to age a little bit, say how like Oregon is now with it being a little bit more aged, it's not like Oregon in effect, but it can be considered a little bit more balanced. I've seen teams get like a 5-1 attacking half on this on Villa before, so it's not too uncommon to see. But Villa theoretically is a defender-sided map. Plus, this is BEE's map pick, so them getting a 4-2 half on their attacking side and now moving on to the defense is really, really huge for them in the context of the series, especially when you look at the fact that they are a map up as well.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing like the same situations coming out. Fair play from these teams, you know, bringing out the Valkyrie, but the cameras are not going to be having a play in this. You know, yeah, it seems like these teams have a very nice understanding of shoot out the camps, we're fine. You know, you can keep that C4 of yours, just keep those cameras out of our position. Now we're going to be having a bit of an interesting match going on. I wonder what it could have been instead of the Valkyrie if she was actually banned, you know, as, of course, you know, we tried to get the rehose back in as quickly as possible. We just forgot about the bans, which is fine. We're still having compromise for both of these teams. The C4 coming out. Now this is going to be, yet again, a bit of a, I'm just going to say maybe she's going off of her gut feeling alone. If it works out, I won't complain. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a master push. It always has been. And this has been the main focus on Villa as for a bit now. But right now, taking 90 is the main focus. You do want to make sure not to get flanked. But at the same time, you want to take 90. Hazard will be starting it off, though, actually getting taken out by Levo. And yeah, I mean, a great way to start it off onto the Jaeger on red stairs.
I'm noticing, at least in the past 2 rounds, when the Valkyrie's been picked, I think what they want to do is find an operator with the Nitro in the same hands, and they make it work. Garen with 2, he's been showing up huge inside of his match, getting not only some insane shots, but then finding 2 kills through a Nitro in this round. They wanted to play heavily towards that first floor, surrounding that mirror setup, but also have some information surrounding these Nitro cells. And no, you don't really get that information through the Valkyrie, but at least you have sound cues to work off of, and sound cues you get, Garen with 2, and now BE, a 4v3 in their favor.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out. Maybe they didn't have the cams, but they have ears and headphones going to combo along with it. The C4 is going to be quite a deadly weapon right there. It's taking out Mini-Me and P13. Yet again, P13 has been one of the more consistent players. As, of course, with the Habana along, you kind of get rid of the Vault Breach and, of course, such things like that, along with the nades. But Critical's getting 1 is going to be, of course, a tease taken out. Nades coming out, managing to damage Dodo just a bit, but not enough to fully take him out. And that's the type of verticality that is a bit hard to play against, since you don't know if there's going to be a nade landing right below your feet any second, or even above you, as we're seeing right now. Criticals drops it, does not get the goal, but will be Krugi replacing it instead with a 1 kill from the side of the mirror, an instant refrag from the side of Levo. It's a 1v1 situation, 5 seconds on the clock. Levo has to go for the blind. He doesn't have time, and Haribo should be noticing that. Yes, he does. He doesn't have a C4, but he has a gun, finishing the job. Actually, not necessarily. He's going to be saving the KD, or the op, as I guess another term. Oh my god.
You know what? I don't blame him. Yeah, like, time is running low. Might as well just save the KD for now. It's alright, it happens. It's okay. But now we see BE, courtesy of the fact that they just, well, the fact that WhiteTigerZ just took too long in that round in general. Time was getting low, and they were able to win it based off of that. But I honestly kind of like their setup towards the first floor surrounding the mirror setups. And I know they kind of goofed up picking into the Valkyrie by complete accident, but I kind of understood the premise around it. Maybe you get somebody else with a deployable or a bulletproof camera, and then you try using Nitro towards 90. But even then, the setup towards the first floor is really, really good. because sometimes teams will rotate maybe 1 or 2 players on there with nades, and you at least have some way to counter them using that mirror setup in the living room library area. But now we get to see BE 5-2 up, going to kitchen and dining for, well, their 8th round, or their 2nd defensive round in a row. And we see them utilize the Azami, and this was an operator that we didn't see a lot of the times be utilized by WhiteTigerZ, or really at all, but we did see the Solus a lot of the time. T's going out for a run out, does a lot of damage, but doesn't walk away with anything.
Oh, adding some more salt to the wound. Minimi gets tagged again, not finished though. Luck is going to be on his side, as of course, you know, damaging the hard breacher first is a bit of a concern, and I'm also seeing a pattern here. A bit of a reverse pattern last time, or last match on Oregon. It was 5-2 for WhiteTigerZ, and then BEE managed to make it back with the 5 rounds of their own. Let's see if maybe WhiteTigerZ can repeat that, as of course, a very good shot from Level taking out Hazar, a trade out to P13, and that will be, you know, a bit of a sledge shaken out. A very good trade, to say the least. I mean, the sledge with the verticality and with those nades, frags in general, pretty much could be a lot more useful than the Melusi, who pretty much set down her gadgets already. So, you know, a worthwhile trade, and of course with that, not much aggression keeping up after it. I mean, we don't have much refrags to go off of. We're just gonna have to go for either very late trades, or, as we consider it, verticality. And now open windows are gonna get open as the Legion is slowly gonna be stuck, I could say.
See if the drones can do a lot of work here from WhiteTigerZ. You have a good opportunity to pinch a Tease, who feels very suffocated in his position, despite nobody being on his windows or outside of the master balcony. And WhiteTigerZ aren't putting any pressure towards the 2nd floor. Rather, their pressure mainly consists of it just being horizontal and towards the 1st floor. You get 1 kill, but you give away your own life and level. So 1-for-1 trade for both of these teams. 1:50 to work with. But look at this. Direct access to the site, and WhiteTigerZ are just going to take it.
Yes, they will. It's going to be a 3v2. Not looking too bad. The plant almost goes down. Doesn't stick it completely, though, as, I mean, she's going to be moving to a lot more of a safe position. But then it seems like the intel on the player laundry is there. The Legion gets knocked out. Gets finished by the 2nd one coming in. Garen still looking quite safe and sound. Not closely, though. I mean, he's going to have to push up to the diffuser, and there's 3 most definitely bloodthirsty attackers that haven't won in a while, and they're ready to secure this round. With a time limit for themselves, it seems like defenders are going to be having the clock turn on them, as of course, he's going to get pushed. I mean, he's getting held by Crossfire. He's getting, it's just a multiple-sided hold, as of course he has not much of a chance of getting away with it, as Krogi will be there to finish the job. And with that, I mean, it seems like WhiteTigerZ are going to be getting one of their fewer rounds, managing to get a bit more close to equaling up the score, but they're still quite a bit away. I mean, 2 rounds away, and right now with BEE looking 1 round away from match point, it could be going down quite quadrifically in Mintel.
You see WhiteTigerZ, you get a 3rd round now. It's pretty good. I mean, so far the match has been very, very close. So hopefully, you know, at least like how we saw BEE get their comeback on Oregon, courtesy of their attacking half. We can see WhiteTigerZ start to feel their way back into the matchup. It was a very nice execute towards the end as well there too, and you know, you had some players on the 2nd floor, but really no advantage being taken of that fact. I didn't really see a lot of vertical holds or anything like that being set up from BE, despite their control on that 2nd floor, despite their players being set up there. But even then, they're gonna go back to this kitchen site, and again, it's the same idea. Players set up towards that 1st floor area, extending towards living room and library, and that was the same idea from WhiteTigerZ. Over in NA, at least, from a lot of teams that I spectate, or a lot of teams that I'm able to cast, they like to hold on to the 2nd floor, and they like to do so heavily with a lot of utility in favor of them.
Yeah, most definitely. Now, we're going out to round now. This, I feel like it's going to be a really quick turn for who can get the first picks. I mean, it's been a battle for that for quite a while, for quite a bit of rounds, although it seems like BEE has been doing it just a bit better, executing it off, and they're getting a bit more aggressive. I mean, they're trying to go off of where the attackers may push, although the Soulless Haribo is not looking at a very nice position. She managed to reveal her position, and of course Legion is also having to back off of Astro, and now the top floor is pretty much given up to the attackers. They have as much freedom as they can carry. Oh, but it gets spotted, the floor, the phone. Yes, the phone. Very hard word to say. The phone right there was noticed, but of course, let go of it the last second as Haribo will be getting taken out, and that's the Soulless off the board.
Soulless off the board as well, and this is gonna be. I mean, that's just not a good kill to give away. But even then, Who's are able to equalize the man count, and that's good as well. So at least for past few rounds, we've seen the WhiteTigerZ be a little bit more consistent with them getting that first opening pick, and then well, it's able to either turn into a round win for BE, or it's able to turn into a round win for WhiteTigerZ. Basically, what I'm trying to say here is that the opening pick doesn't really matter, because sometimes it's either going in WhiteTigerZ way and we see BE absolutely stomp them, or we see WhiteTigerZ get the pick, or we see BE get the first pick and WhiteTigerZ absolutely steamroll them. So it's been pretty weird to watch, because usually the first pick is very, very important to watch out for, but sometimes it's really not, and in this case it isn't for both teams.
Yeah, a bit of a confusion streak going on around here. As I mean, Haribo getting taken out for P13. I wouldn't necessarily call it an equal exchange, but it's gonna be Dodo right now taking some heavy damage for himself. He's trying to go around, but he's being a bit careful, even noticing that he could get peeked from anywhere. Those are right now taking some heavy damage as well. I mean, BEE is looking extremely low, and not only low on HP, but also on players to get taken out. It's going to be Hazar and Dodo. The plan is going down on Minimi. They got one off of them. The C4 does not seem to come into effect as the Capcan gets dropped, and now it's a 3v1. The verticality is he gets spotted, and that's going to be, of course, Kurogi finishing the job, getting round number 4 for the side of WhiteTigerZ, as they not only managed to get themselves a round closer and a round away from being equal, but this is looking like a very similar pattern to the Oregon match.
It's a very unlucky end there for BEE. You saw the Capcan able to throw his Nitro Cell out towards Tetris, but it not being able to net anything, and then the vertical hole being opened above him to shut him down immediately as he was trying to make a play. So that was good play from WhiteTigerZ. Shut it down at the end. Leave no error for mistakes, or leave no room for mistakes, just as we would hope they would have done, or we saw them do a couple of times on Oregon when they were attacking, when they had their attacking half on Oregon, and when they were able to drag that out to a 4-2 half. It seems like attack for both teams has been consistently good. It's just that defensive setups are not really solid or really that formidable, and I don't really think it's the fact that, oh, there's not like enough players inside or anything like that. I think it's the fact that there's really not a lot of pressure being applied to the attackers when they get a lot of map control, especially towards like the second floor or towards the first floor. We saw a lot of times when they're able to get when the attack is able to just get map control, there is no pressure from the defense. They're very content with just sitting back and waiting for the attack to come to them, and sometimes it's not really the best option, especially when you have both of these two teams who on their attacks, when they're able to get map control, they're able to take full advantage of that and execute effectively onto the site.
Yeah, most definitely, but Team B right now need to kind of start getting back on their feet. They managed to do it for one round in the previous ones, but they have been, I guess you could say, falling off in the recent ones. It seems like, I mean, this is just looking like a bit of a repeat of the previous Oregon match, but just on kind of reversed onto the opposing team, as of course the push from right now, oh my goodness, WhiteTigerZ is going in aggressively. The second the Warden gets distracted by the drone, one comes in rushing through Astro, getting actually almost taken out Haribo, but he manages to just slither away with a slip of his life. And I mean, with that, I mean, upstairs possession is almost kind of given on the side of Master Bedroom. Not not almost, it's pretty much just granted, as now they just need to kind of continue on to 90, take advantage of it, and just make sure they kind of secure these operators that will be needed in the later rounds, such as Habana. Maybe try and use the Lion gadgets before he gets taken out, and such and such. And yeah, it's gonna get very difficult. I mean, the Warden's already low on HP, but besides that, it's looking kind of close.
Same exact setup from B Esports as they set up towards the first floor surrounding this mirror, just in case you see anybody go down below to try and at least use these nades to their full advantage. But they go, or they have somebody play below, and you get the first, well, one of two picks that leaves Garen all by himself on this first floor surrounding that mirror on that first floor. But I think he's already backed off. But even then, the kills keep raining in from WhiteTigerZ. They keep finding pick after pick after pick, but it's not until it's interrupted by Haribo, who's able to now be shut down, and a nice shot from Critical nets him a kill, but it's not unanswered with Garen finding himself in a 1v3 plant going down. And he has a lot of picks to find, or we'll just read if you want to get technical about it.
Yeah, the mirror looking like it's going to be a very hasty match. A 1v3 as Level will be pushing down from below, managing to end it quickly, and of course, a very nice match. Or just a very well-played round from WhiteTigerZ. They managed to get a very early push on, and not only push, but advantage of the Master side, which normally would be challenged quite heavily as the Warden had to back off. I mean, he got distracted by the drone, managed to look down, and that's when they caught him lacking, managed to, you know, just force him out of his comfort zone, pushing him back into side with little to no HP. Now with that, it's a 5-5 score, and I really don't want the caster curse activating upon anyone, since I don't want a lawsuit filed against me by these teams, but it could be going to 7-5 in the favor of WhiteTigerZ.
It's been a very close matchup so far on Villa. It's a much better performance from WhiteTigerZ. We see them kind of shape up a little bit better mentally, not needing that tech timeout, but also just having some little breaks here and there, especially with the rehosts that we had like right in the middle of Villa. That gives them some time to talk things over, calm the nerves down a little bit, have a little bit of banter. And I think ever since then, they've looked like a better team. But also, I think it's the fact that they're just a little bit better on the attacking half than they might be on the defensive half, where we saw on the defensive half, they're a little bit more spread apart, and that was easier to take advantage of for BEE. Now, this time, they're a little bit more together, and they're able to formulate where they want to push, whereas on defense, or you're on the defense, you have to let the attackers set the pace for you. At least now for WhiteTigerZ, you get to set that pace, and they've been setting it pretty well for the last few rounds. So hats off to them for fixing their problems, but for BE, you know, I don't really know what the issue is here for them, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, I can't seem to figure it out. I mean, they seem to be in a bit of a stuck situation like WhiteTigerZ was previously, but I'm really hoping this doesn't continue going over to the next match. Now, I mean, with that in mind, it would seem like it's going to be a similar push as these gets taken out, and yet another quick pick onto the side of B Esports. And with that, it's going to be looking like WhiteTigerZ is going to be not only dominant, but very ground heavy on how they push things. Not only that, but how quickly they take possession of them. Now, I mean, with that along, it's 5-5, and this is looking really close. And whoever wins this round could also potentially be winning the match. And if they don't, I mean, it's just going to be going into overtime, as right now we're just going to be fighting for these. It's seeming like it's just the first picks that kind of decide the match. Again, it's a solo, it's a very important one, and of one that could be tie-turning for the end game. Now, we don't have much of a smoke, although we have a Goyo, I guess, but Goyo already placed his gadget down, so taking him out won't be doing that much when it comes to it.
Let's see the, oh my god, I almost called them the blue team. WhiteTigerZ take full advantage of the fact that they have this first floor control, but we see action happening from BE. They have nades bringing in from below, so you have a drop in coming in. I mean, yes, you have a man disadvantage going in your favor, but at least you take care of one of the biggest issues. Well, you still have nades in the back pockets of Levo, Huzar, and Dodo, the last two players alive, and now it's only 50 seconds left on the clock. This attack coming in from that north side, and Huzar has that main stairs on lock.
Yes, he does. A 2v3 situation not looking too good for the side of B Sports. Dodo taking some damage himself. All the fire is preventing these attackers from straight up going in. The Lion scan could be just might as well used, you know, to force your way through into side, going behind the vault door, you know, going for the default plan. Jan, the drone comes in. There's some intel, but I don't think they know about the study. Could be using it as well, just a bit of a gut feeling or a common possession. There it is. It's going to be a kill onto Haribo, as of course it's a 1v3 situation, and it seems like WhiteTigerZ is going to be coming out with a 6-5 score. Critical is finishing it off, and that's going to be the Wamai getting finished, as of course, yeah, it seems like the caster curse is activating, and maybe if I were just to be quiet, this wouldn't be happening, as WhiteTigerZ is a 6-5, and it's looking like this will be going into or actually map number 3.
See, it's not too far off the mark to say that B Sports could bring this into OT, but with the way that the momentum has been swinging like a pendulum for both teams, B Sports had their chance on Oregon and then coming into the first 3 rounds on Villa, and now we're seeing WhiteTigerZ now coming into their own attacks, have that momentum for themselves and have that chance to be able to, well, take matters into their own hands, set the pace. Like I said, both teams seem to thrive off really, really well when they're both in the attack, so they both have the opportunity to set the pace of the matchup, whereas on a defense, a lot of the times, both teams seem a little bit afraid to make certain plays or be a little bit afraid to do something in an early round or just do anything at all in order to at least find the very first pick or at least find a way to disrupt pace or to disrupt momentum. They're very content with getting map control, and they're very content to let that map control sit and simmer against them. And for most teams, that's not going to work out, just like how both teams have proved it here on their attacking lineups. It's been a very good match so far. It's been very, very close, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it go into OT.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, I am quite curious on the use of Doc, though. It seems like most of these teams have been getting off. I mean, mostly B Sports have been getting off on kind of just getting away from gunfights. Injured, maybe that's the reason behind the Doc, or just a P90, because it's a lovely gun to use. A lot of bullets, good fire rate, and of course, you know, with that all comes also okay damage. So a decent gun to use in general. And, you know, Doc also bringing a bit of a camera with him just for some extra spicy intel, since you don't have the Valkyrie unlock, wouldn't really hurt. Now, it's going to be, Master side is getting very heavily defended, as we see. I mean, Hazard right now just holding it with his dear life, along with, of course, the player in the side of, yes, Trophy right now. There was the Doc. It gave us a bit of a sneak peek on who it was. As, of course, it's going to be the first kill again. P13 dropping it onto Haribo. It's going to be the Warden out of the match. A very interesting pick. They do have flashes, but no game, so it couldn't be as neat as much, as Criticals will be getting traded out by Garen. And now it's a 4v4 looking, yet again, pretty much we're back sets to where we were at the start, kind of.
See, giving up that first pick for Haribo, or at least in favor of WhiteTigerZ, and you find an immediate trade back. Garen wanting to get more, and he's been hitting some crazy shots today. It wouldn't be too far off to see him hit another one. He has a couple of drones going onto his shield, but no nades to deal with him apart from one in the back pocket of P13. And it doesn't even look like it's being cooked on his position. It looks like it was cooked on a completely different one. But that lion call is going to cause Krugi to go in, but they don't recognize that Hoos is so far pushed up into bathroom. It gets him one. He knows that there's one on his astronomy stairway, and he could easily confirm a second, but he's not going to get a little bit too greedy. He knows there's a lot of cutoffs worrying him, but his teammates come in to support Gary. Now in bedroom, now supporting him with that kill, finds one at level, gets another one, but no, wait, P13 finding one of his own. It's a 2v1 though, as we see kills rain out and the smoke start to settle, and a T is able to clutch it up in the final few moments. P13 falls, and a B Esports able to claim a round win and bring us into OT.
Oh my goodness, seems like you know, some people could be right now hyping up B Esports for, and of course, for just in general, I mean, with how they've been performing, a 6-6 score, as we're going to be going into overtime. Now it's the first one to get to 8. They seemingly got back on their feet just for a bit. The zombie getting insane kills. She got the flank onto bathroom, stayed flashed, and even while recovering from, you know, bleached eyes syndrome, aka called being flashed right in front of your face, she still managed to get another pick, not going down without any type of fight. Now, we're going to be seeing B back onto defense, which hasn't been their best performing spot. But if they can win with it, it shouldn't be too much of an issue for them, as WhiteTigerZ need to step up their game. I mean, this entire match today is on this couple of rounds. I mean, if they win, you know, they get another chance, and it's not like even guaranteed like they win. But if they lose, oh, we can call it a good night and a good one for this season, as they're going to be getting pretty much kind of just canceled out. You don't have much to go after there, as yeah, we're going to be going into trophy and statue. Did pretty well. Be Esports, you know, they won it last time, so maybe second time's charm could be working out for them yet again.
Thinking here is from WhiteTigerZ. We see ourselves now into OT, and trophy statuary is a side choice here for BE or B Sports. Sorry, and well, we see the Azami being picked plus the castle. This castle strategy's been used a lot, whether it's been in EU and A. It's been copied across all regions, and it's been pretty effective into just cutting off a lot of angles and allowing you a little bit more freedom to move around the map. If you've seen the castle barricades, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Someone's on the small windows inside of the master bedroom area. But even then, it's not the case or the point of focus here from WhiteTigerZ. Well, it is, but they're taking it in a completely different way. It's going to be towards that first floor, trying to utilize those nades in order to take out some of the utility that exists on the second on site here from BE Sports.
Yes, yes, yes! As pushing in slowly a bit more from below, the attackers are going to try to take ground, you know, trying to play off of verticality and those nades that they have in their use. Garen trying to get some cheeky pre-fires, now working out as Criticals gets one onto Haribo, making it a 5v4, yet again a very early pick. Another one onto the side of Hazar, a 5v3 looking very deadly right now, as I mean, oh, this is not looking good. B are kind of just giving up one after another, and I mean, if it keeps on going, we can assume how this round will be ending up. Now, B will be moving to attack after this one, so they should be having an easy time, as Dodo gets one onto Levo, taking out the hot hand, another one onto Critical, who has been dominating this round, making it a 3v3, as it seems like, you know, B won't be going down without a fight so easily. They managed to come back, slap back, even. They are starting to challenge, and not only are they getting more aggressive, but also a bit more unpredictable.
B Sports able to find their way back into the matchup, and now it's a 3v3 in both teams' favor. Health advantage going over to WhiteTigerZ, as Atiz is very low on HP, and for a moment WhiteTigerZ have managed to remove some utility, but you still have to force yourself into the gunfights, and so far you lose one, and now you are down one man compared to the last two. Krugi, though, able to find his team back into the matchup, but unexpected plays after unexpected plays nets into a lot of kills, and this may be a pre-fire onto Garen behind this window. They're playing around with each other, not really understanding the full scope of things. Garen thought he was a little bit deeper. I don't know why he was looking there. And Krugi is able to afford himself some space inside of sight. Doesn't have the fuses, so will probably have to go for the kill. And you see him aggressively.
Oh my goodness!
Garen is able to find it! And BE Sports put themselves on OT match point and serious point as well. And they could just book themselves a place into that semifinals. Well, if this upcoming round has anything to say for it.
Oh, wow. That was close. That Frost was, you know, kind of holding herself together by the tips. I mean, that was extremely close. Not only did she kind of zone out on that to Zofia, holding in her an Astral, kind of escaping death once, she also got the hip fire, taking out the Zofia, who wasn't looking too good, as it did manage to finish her off. The 1v1 not only managed to kind of save Frost from multiple occasions of her demise, and you know, this round that could be leading to a loss for WhiteTigerZ, but she also managed to get a hipfire in at the end, which props to them because they're looking a lot more comfortable. But I don't think this saving type of method where you don't get necessarily instantly shot out by the enemy. You zone out, you look somewhere completely outside. The timing, you know, this luck you could call it, necessarily won't save you all the time, but it did this once, and let's hope that B can now, you know, repent and just do a bit better this round, managing to win themselves and not going into match number 3 as we're going into Aviator. This is going to get a lot more hasty, and it's yet again with how these rounds on Aviator have been looking, it's gonna depend a bit more off of on not only early picks, but how quickly they cover this round. I mean, the Warden, one of these rounds, it was a couple rounds back, he let go of, he was forced to push back into side instantly, giving Master Bedroom in its entirety in the first couple of seconds, as we get a bit of a broken Dorito onto the main stairs by the Azami, and yeah, that's not going to be working too well for them.
I don't know if that was a misthrow, like if he accidentally just fat fingered the king, or if he just like if he was trying something new. Because I don't think I'm not gonna lie, I think he just misplaced it. Because I've seen a couple of Kiba bears able to be placed onto the main stairs, but that's not one of them, and that's true as hell is not the right placement. Even an OT match point here for B Esports, and now they start on that attack. Both teams doing pretty well on their attacking halves. Defense is not gathered them any luck, but for the past 2 rounds, B Esports have been able to claw back tough men counts or tough men advantages in favor of WhiteTigerZ, and have been able to find ways to clutch it out and win it on their own. Now going on to the attack, they have the opportunity to take matters into their own hands and actually win the whole entire matchup. But WhiteTigerZ, they're not too far away from the mark. They've been very close, matching them tit for tat, and that is a really good way to start out P13 onto Haribo. First kill in favor of WhiteTigerZ.
Yeah, the attackers are looking, aka B Sports, are looking a bit more slow on their attack, not giving too much pressure on these defenders. They're not only giving them a lot of freedom, but also kind of, you know, just taking their sweet time for this execute, which shouldn't be a preferred thing. You still have the smoke to worry about, which in the end game is not only going to be a pain to work against, but also just in general hard to push through. Now the Soul is still out in the loose. They are looking extremely close to having their victory taken away, but yeah, still they have to keep this going. I mean, they may not have a man anymore, aka Yana, or they're a man down, I should say, but with 40 seconds on the line, you have to start pushing. You need to start getting aggressive. You have someone involved. He's right now holding it extremely aggressively. P13 pushes up, gets one. It's going to be Dodo off the board. Hussar joins him in the grave, 6 foot under. F5v2. Another, actually a trade coming in from Estes, as he will be getting taken out by Minimi. A 4v1 level left in a fight with Garen, and he does manage to pick him off, but the smokes are coming out, and well, with the smokes coming out, I don't think there's much you have left to do, especially with this HP on the line. Actually gets the Wamai, but yeah, she gets blocked from her path. Yeah, no, you can't. Yeah. You will be gassed to death, I guess.
Yeah, Garrett's been hitting some pretty crazy shots, but hitting 2 more shots in the span of 2 seconds is a little bit impossible for him to act. Now we're into OZ match point between both of these teams, and it's been a wild ride to say the least. This could be life or death for WhiteTigerZ, but it also could be just an extra life for B Esports as they look to eye that semi-final spot. It's been a very long map number 2, not because of just one little tech pause and maybe some mishaps here and there, but it's just been a very long map in general just because of how close it has been between both of these teams. You compare it to Oregon, where at first it looked like WhiteTigerZ were really looking to actually win the map after getting that 5-2 advantage, but then they kind of like slowed down and started to let B Sports get into their heads a little bit. Now we get into Villa, and it's a little bit more balanced. Both teams fighting it back to back, and it's just been a very good matchup to watch so far. Now we get to see B Sports. Both teams, OT defenses so far, going to the second floor sites. We saw B Sports the last time they played their defense on the OT, which was like 2 rounds ago, went to Trophy Statuary. Now we get to see them on ABG, just like how we saw just last round WhiteTigerZ do it on. And they're going to do the same strategy surrounding the mirror on that first before, looking to deny that area of the map as much as possible against White Tigers.
Although we will be seeing a guess, you could call it a bit more of a rare face coming in. It's going to be Criticals coming in with a Monty. Although I am surprised to see Criticals on that role. Seems to be doing quite well as when it comes to frags. But still, he has been a bit of a game changer. Acts like he didn't see the player in the corner. Doesn't matter though, the Deagle comes out as Level will be getting taken off the board. And well, I am very interested to see what more this can bring. It was a secondary, not only a secondary, it was the legendary Deagle. Although a trade comes out, P13 getting one onto Garen, but Level will be a better trade to go off of, as T's getting some damage dropped off onto him, but will be backing off in a nice, safe, and sound position. Still has to worry about any attackers maybe watching out for him. Ace starting to use his gadgets on the zombie, which means they're getting desperate to kind of wear out the utility of these defenders, because I mean you kind of have to. You can't play around it. It's very hard to do so, as it gives them such an advantage. It's really yet again, it's really hard to play against. Now, the smokes are still in. We still have a C4 on the Mira, and the zombie barriers are still up. These gadgets are still there, and not only are there the ones that are placed by the Goyo, there's also Haribo with one onto the Ace. Minimi getting taken out. That's the Hard Breacher, and also the AK out of the board.
I mean, right now, so far, you have one of the best players in the lobby and Garen being taken out, so you need more players to step up here for BE Sports. It's nice to have all of this utility in your back pocket, but mainly these rounds have been lost to just late round gunfights, not going in favor of the team who actually loses them. And we see Dodo able to find one, but go down. He's not able to confirm the kill, but a smoke grenade goes out in order to slow down a push for now. So yes, utility usage is good, but let's see if the gunfights actually go through. And a drop shot from Critical. What the hell is going on?
Hello?
And a flank from a tease is all it needs to confirm the round. Another smoke grenade goes out, but Critical able to afford that space, afford that room to be able to get that pick off. But all you need is one player to watch the flank. But even then, nobody's doing that. They have to execute onto site, and they have about 38 seconds to do it, and they find one. Now it's a 1v2 for a tease.
Oh my goodness, it's going to be going down to the plant. They pushed up so fastly the zombie couldn't react. The Goyos are going off, and the Manti's going for the plant, as it seems like he's going to be going a bit more safe. Actually, he blocks off this type of rotation through Vault, as of course Astis gets noticing also along the Zofia. Starting to go into a gunfight. I think she doesn't know exactly what to do. Blocks herself from the Monty shots as she starts to get very aggressive. He's gonna have to go for a pre-fire. He gets one, and now it's all up to this Monty. Oh my goodness, what will it be? And I do feel like this is going to be GG's for WhiteTigerZ, and yes, it will. I mean, this Monty is unable to be kind of countered in this sort of way, and it's pretty much impossible. I mean, what do you do about a chunky piece of black ice shield? As I mean, he does damage. Oh my goodness! No! Hello! He gets the shot on to Monty, managing to pick him off by Pixel, and there it is. It's gonna be, of course, BE Sports. My controller just fell on the desk, winning the first quarter finals with an insane ending. Oh, I'm starting to lose my voice.
That is the most unlosable situation that you can find yourself as the Monty. I don't know if it's a glitch. I don't know if Critical just kind of fat fingered. I don't know what happened. But just like that, WhiteTigerZ, your season is over in the Titan series, and for BE Sports, it continues. You go over to the semifinals, take the map series, or the series as a whole, 2-0 fashion for BE Sports. The Hungarian side, the team coming in from the Hungarian Nationals, their first experience in the Titan series. Well, not in the, it was their first experience in the Titan series, but they've been here in Talent League before, and they're looking to keep continuing their history here in the Titan series.
Well, it was certainly a bit of an interesting way to end it off. I mean, I was expecting the Monty to have it a bit more safe, you know, just camp around the door, wait for the defuse to come out, but in the end, you know, those bullets seem to have just curved around him, taking him out, and of course, I mean, with the Ella that's left, I think, Jack, I think we should be throwing it to the host and the analyst.
Every time the mute gets me, but it's fine. It's fine. We're keeping the professionalism. Thank you very much, Shaka and Papa Bob, for that brilliant cast. Keeping the professionalism, keeping the energy all the way throughout those 15 rounds, and Papa Bob, no doubt, sweating in that suit. I am sure, lads. What game? What series? What last round? That was actually edge of your seat stuff. Please,
Edge
let's
of me,
break
bro.
it down. We have the
I
entire
can't.
desk to ourselves now.
It was
Jaeger, you
insane,
start.
insane. I can't keep my mouth shut. I know you were talking, but how? Okay, first of all, I don't know
Can't wait to
how
start
you lose
talking.
that. How do you lose that as a Monty? I don't understand. You just stand in the doorway,
Oh,
and then
that's losable.
it's. I know it's losable, but in this
That's
situation,
losable.
like it's.
It
I
shouldn't
know
be.
it should not
It
be
shouldn't be,
losable.
right? It shouldn't
It
be.
shouldn't be.
No, 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 guys, come on, like you
Like, give
never,
players
you
credit. Give
No,
like
players
no,
like
no,
credit.
no,
like
no.
you never. That means you never played as a Monty like against like a really good player who just like
No,
leans
I
left and right
know
and
it's
tries to
not
like
losable, but it should not be losable from that perspective. If you're playing, I at
right.
least it shouldn't feel like. I mean, especially with the time left, you can stand the wall. It's I don't play Monty, like you said, Leo. Maybe I'm just being biased. I'm talking too much about this round, but let's just go over the two
I mean
games as a
that
whole.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll come back to this round, Leo. We'll come back to this round.
Yeah.
So let's go all the way back to Oregon, Leo, where it all started. WTZ were
Oh,
living their high. They were 5-2 up. What happened, man?
right. We're going back to Oregon, yeah. All
All
right.
the way
Well,
back.
all right. Let's go. Let's go to my notes because Oregon was
Oh
crazy,
god.
but I mean a bit like it's
Oh
crazier.
god.
So Oregon right now just feels like it never happened. You know what I mean?
It felt like an
Um.
eternity ago. Oh my god.
Yeah. Um.
He's
So
looking.
so basically on Oregon, what happened was B started actually pretty good. Like they started on defense, and first two rounds went pretty good for them. They actually won both of these rounds, and it didn't look like. Uh, I mean, it didn't look, let's say, close. It looked like they knew what they were doing. I think we had a rehost or something like that. Something definitely happened, and because something happened on
Yeah.
the entire stream. So
And I'm pretty
so
sure that rehost sort of killed their momentum. Am I
right,
right in saying that?
that's how it felt like, right? White Tiger just started rolling them over until like at basically some point, it was the eighth round
Hmm.
when the situation was that White Tigers went for spawn peak. They killed the banner early, and then I'm not too sure if they actually if B still had the Heartbreach gadget, but regardless, it doesn't matter because they didn't have any like really useful hatches open besides maybe Laundry Hatch. They decided to go for like a 4v4 plant against like Laundry site from Freezer and Laundry, so 2-2, and basically just went for full plant and just went for the full cover, and it just worked somehow. Like that should
Mm.
never work. Defense should have enough utility to actually stop that plan, to have an answer. Like there is no way that B is allowed to not open any hatches, not really create any pressure, and just go for the plan, right? So that's like one of the
Yeah.
Mm.
first like that was one of the first things that like that were like, oh, okay, this is kind of crazy, like this should happen, right? But like
Mhm.
after that specific round, it felt like White Tigers just started playing completely differently. Like they just went for laundry defense again,
Mhm.
and the strat was kind of the same, but they played completely differently. They started running around. They played solo. They went for these like really aggressive peaks. It felt like there was no team play. They didn't use their utility properly. Players with C4s died early. A bunch of that stuff, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And they lost two rounds in a row again. So like they lost the round that they turtled, and they should not have lost that one because of the plan, right? The 4v4 plan. And then they went for an aggressive playstyle. B adapted really fast to that aggressive playstyle, started playing slowly, methodically, started clearing out of Rome, started waiting for the aggression. And what happened was White Tigers couldn't figure out how they should play the defense because they figured out, okay, Turtle didn't work, and aggression doesn't work, and it looked like they didn't have like enough in the strat book to kind of go back to in order to fix that, and it also looked like mentally they kind of lost it.
Mm.
So I think that's what happened in Oregon there, and then and then it just, when you're attacking and you're playing this slow methodical play style, and defense the defense is just running around, you're just gonna pick them off one by one. You're just gonna have the advantage on every round when a round starts early on, and the game just becomes easy, right? Then at that point it's just communication, and not really making the mistake as the attackers to just like throw, run in like one by one, like basically do the same thing, right? So you kind of feel like you have the game in your control, and that's what happened in Oregon, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm so glad
definitely.
you pointed out. I mean, sorry to cut you off, Gul, there, but it's
All
something
good.
that you said that like their mental felt. It felt like when I was watching the game that they were being beaten by themselves. It wasn't really BEE. It was they lost a round or two that they didn't need to lose, and then they just lost all momentum. It felt like they were just playing against themselves. Like he said, they were trying to play aggressive. They were trying to play turtle. They were trying to mix it up because they didn't know what was happening, and I think they just played into themselves a little bit too much. And it just kind of affected them. You could see they were being a little bit more scared in their play style. They weren't going for some of the plays that you would usually see from them. And ultimately, I feel like it cost them because once you start losing, I mean, mind you, they lost 5 in a row, but in that little bit of time between Oregon and Villa, they lost 8 in a row. 8 in a row. I'm sorry, kidding.
Yeah.
I feel like they would have lost a lot more if it wasn't for that technical rehost after the round 3 in Villa. But it was complete domination. I mean, let's go. Let's finish Oregon here. It was a long time ago, and there's so much I want Villa. But let's just go to that round number 4 or round 3 at the end, where there was a rehost and something just clicked into WhiteTigerZ, and they started playing well
Was
again.
that
Leo. I mean,
Villa
what's
or
going on?
Oregon?
On Villa
Villa.
after round 3
Oh,
Villa,
sorry,
heroes, they
sorry.
came
There,
back
there was
in.
just like one more thing that I wanted to say about Oregon, like
Yeah,
just
of
one more
course.
thing, and then we can move on to Villa. So like it's just that I pointed out in my notes, and I don't really
Mm.
like really singling out players like that, but it felt like on Oregon towards the end, Levo, it really felt like he decided to take the game into his own hands. He just started going for all of these crazy picks, like just running around every round. It started spawn picking, and after those 2 rounds that I talked about, so basically after we evened out on Villa 5-5, Levo kept on doing that, and I noticed that his team, just like as soon as he died early on and B made it a 5v4, his team just kind of turtled again. But the issue was that, I mean, Levo tried to go for that again. He tried going for that aggressive playstyle. The team didn't keep going for that. Like everyone else turtled, everyone else got scared or decided to go for a different playstyle. Doesn't matter. They were not on the same page, and it looked even worse at that point. At that point, they're not going for a turtle. They're not going for an aggressive playstyle. At that point, to me, it looks like just every single one of the players on WhiteTigerZ, or at least Levo specifically, is just deciding, I'm gonna do my thing, and you guys like whatever happens. If I get 2 kills, great. If I die early, well, it's gonna be a 4v5 for you guys. And for me, that's just not a good way to play the game. That's not how you play in a team environment. And again, I'm going back to my previous point and the thing that you pointed out, that it's probably because of mental. It's just mental at that point. If a player is behaving like that and just playing not in sync with the team, and looks like is not following the plan, is just mental at that point, and you can't really do anything about that. You have to pause, you have to stop, and you need
Mhm.
to uh, make sure that everyone is on the same page.
Yeah, I mean, for as long as that whole series went on, I mean, round 15 at the very last map, that's got to be draining, not only physically with reaction time and whatnot, but yeah, like you said, mentally. And it just felt like it was a roller coaster for both of these teams. At one point it felt like WhiteTigerZ had the upper hand, then it was BEE, and it was really all over the place. So yeah, that would be draining for any normal person, really.
Yeah. So yeah, now
Mm.
we can
So
move on to Villa.
You had a lot to say about Oregon,
Yeah.
Leo. I mean, I know for a fact while the caster was casting, you were typing all of the little. I know you were like writing the notes because you were asking our production team to clip a lot of different rounds. I know you have a lot to say, but let's try to keep it a little bit more concise this time because I feel like we're learning out of airtime a little bit, and
Yeah,
it's okay. So let's talk about mainly about what maybe could have changed for WhiteTigerZ. After round 3, they really had a comeback, right? You were thinking after round 3, they're down after the count. They got flawless or almost flawless 2 or 3
That
rounds in
that
a row,
was
I believe.
3 rounds in a row for B, and then White Tigers had a flawless round.
Just came back, and then White Tigers just came
yeah.
back. Yeah.
Yeah, so it looked like B are just completely dominating on attack, and to be honest, for me, like I wrote in the notes that they're just keeping B, is just keeping the same momentum from Oregon, because they dominated on Oregon attack, and they moved on, and you know Oregon and Villa are both like notorious maps. They used to be, and I bet they still are. They're maps that I mean they're one of the harder to attack in a map pool,
Mm.
right? So B doing that on Oregon, really dominating the attacking side, and then going to Villa and dominating Villa again on the attacking side 3 rounds in a row. And those rounds were flawless. Like it looked like White Tigers just have no answer at all. And then again, I think we had another rehost. Something happened, right? And we came back to the game, and then White Tigers just looked completely different. And it's not even that White Tigers looked different. It looked like White Tigers or Villa is played the way it's supposed to be played, which is when usually like on Villa, if you're not working really hard together as roam on the roam clear, so like multiple attackers on a roam clear, usually the roamers even like alone without any help are just gonna pick off the attackers just because of the way angles work on Villa, and just because of the advantages you have as a defender and everything, and all the all of the little rooms that you have on Villa. That's just how the map works usually. So it felt like one, White Tigers were not really being cleared correctly by B, and also White Tigers maybe just started hitting their shots. I'm not too sure. Maybe the rehost helped them reset mentally. But yeah, momentum looked really good for B until that point. And after that, yeah, a complete roller coaster, as you said. Just, I mean, after that, I mean, I stopped noting what's happening. But we all know what happened
It
there.
was
It was
insane.
crazy. Yeah, it was nuts.
I mean, Gurul, what do you have to say? Because obviously we've talked so much about what the games are, but I mean, even though you're our lovely host, I'm sure you have also some thoughts you wanted to share.
I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, my mind was definitely more intact during Oregon than it was with Villa because, like I said, Villa, man, ups and downs like
Oh my God.
crazy. But yeah, it was definitely kind of little tiny bit of a struggle to keep up with. But yeah, it was I mean, yeah, honestly, not too much to say from me. Thank you very much, gentlemen, Jaeger and Leo. You have been wonderful today. And obviously, we will be seeing BEE make their way towards the semi-finals before the finals. And we will see you guys on Wednesday, I'm pretty sure. So thank you very much for joining us. I've been your host, Gorel, for today. My analyst, of course, as I just mentioned, Jaeger and Leo, analyzing the game, breaking that down for you and making it easy to digest. And we will see you in the next one.